John Robinson, a winner in his last game at USC, comes home with the Los Angeles Rams off and winging. With Vince Ferragamo at the controls, there's no longer a quarterback controversy. Ferragamo was solid and showed why against the Giants on this pass. Tight end Mike Barber made it look easy as the Rams scored a spirited opening game victory. In Eric Dickerson, #1 draft choice, they have a new running back sensation. Already, people are predicting stardom for the All-American from SMU. Jack Youngblood has been a star for most of his 12 years with the Rams. A rejuvenated Youngblood playing in a new defensive setup used his quickness and strength to key an aggressive effort last Sunday. Meanwhile, in New Orleans, the Saints may have finally arrived. Fans are proud of a team on the rise. George Rogers had his best game ever in last week's victory over the Cardinals. The bruising third-year running back busted loose for 206 yards, sparked by this 76-yard touchdown run. Rogers, the offensive focal point of the Saints, who take on the Rams today. Two hungry teams out of the NFC West collide.
Today, the New Orleans Saints against the Los Angeles Rams.
We're at sun-baked Anaheim Stadium in Southern California with the New Orleans Saints, never starting a season 2-0, have that chance today against the Los Angeles Rams. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Wayne Walker. How important is the second game of the season? Very important if you're the Saints or the Rams. They both won last week. And in the topsy-turvy NFC West, where anyone has a chance to win, the victor today could gain an advantage. And, Wayne, I'd have to say that the #1 question, Ken Stabler's condition. He will play, and he will start at quarterback for the Saints. But yesterday at the Ram practice, the one name everyone was talking about was George Rogers.
How many defensive players we talked about 8 or 9, and that was the first name they mentioned. They know that for them to win this afternoon, they have to get George Rogers stopped.
Two coaches, Bum Phillips and John Robinson, different characteristics. Last year, the Saints had 18 new faces. This year, the Rams started with 18 new faces. How would you characterize the approaches of these two men?
I think it's kind of interesting, really. You know, they're different kind of guys. Bum, of course, is a country guy, and I think John Robinson personifies a city-type coach. Their philosophies are identical. They really believe that you win in this league by physically dominating the other team. They can do that. Good running backs, good offensive line, they'll punch at each other, and somebody will fold.
We told you it was sun-baked, and it certainly is. The temperatures are rising, 100 degrees. It's more than that on the field, although we do not have artificial turf, which is a break, I guess. But it is sunny and hot, and that's the way it's been throughout the country, as Morton Anderson will kick off for the New Orleans Saints as the Rams have won the toss and elected to receive. There's Anderson out of Michigan State. Kicks it off deep. Barry Redden is there for the Rams, 8 yards in the end zone, and that's exactly what they want from Morton Anderson, those booming kicks in the end zone. So the Ram offense now, and Vince Ferragamo firmly entrenched at quarterback, Eric Dickerson and Mike Gooman. The running backs, Otis Grant, 5th-round draft choice at wide receiver along with George Farmer. They're thin at wide receiver. Bain, Hill, Smith, Hara, and Slater up front, and Mike Barber starts at tight end. Preston Bernard and Henry Ellard both lost to the Rams due to injury. So they're going to have to take a look at some young players as the Rams come out 1st and 10 at the 20. MVP last year for the Rams, Ferragamo. They go with the one-back offense. It's in vogue now. Gooman in motion for the Rams. Ferragamo looking for a receiver, and he had enough time, but this pass is thrown out of bounds. The New Orleans Saints defense, and they were awfully tough last week. Bruce Clark, Derlin Moore, and Jim Wilkes are up front. Clark has been a doubtful performer. The linebackers, Whitney Paul in place of Rob Nairn, Dennis Winston, who's been sensational, Jim Kovach, and Ricky Jackson. Jackson, a big play linebacker. Dave Waymer, Rodney Lewis in his second start at right cornerback. Johnny Poe moves to strong safety, and Frank Watlett is the free safety. 2nd and 10. Gooman moves into the wing position as he will, and so will David Hill from that spot. Here is Eric Dickerson. He got tripped up, but he got to about the 25, 26-yard line. Ricky Jackson, the linebacker, makes the stop, and our first look at Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson, a great cutback runner. He has the ability that great backs do to get sideways extremely fast without losing speed. Watch him cut back here. They got a block on number 52, Kovac, and he picked up some yards.
Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. Dickerson is playing with a hyperextended right toe. He has a plastic protector there, and he is not 100%. We don't know how he's going to play. He had a fine debut last week. 3rd down. 3rd and 4. In motion again, Gooman. Ferragamo 0 for 1. Finds Gooman out of the backfield. And Mike Gooman is stopped by Dennis Winston, who made 10 tackles last week. But it's good enough for a Ram first down. A lot of people ignore Gooman when he's out as a pass receiver.
Gooman got out in the flat quick, but watch Eric Dickerson. He's the tailback back there. He'll pick up a blitzer over on the left-hand side. Ricky Jackson blitzing. That set it up for Ferragamo to get it outside for Gooman.
You'll see Gooman playing the same position as David Hill, one of the tight ends. John Robinson calls it the U-back in the Rams offense. They'll go with one running back, and that's Dickerson for the most part. So it's 1st and 10 now at the 40-yard line for the Rams. David Hill is in the game, and there is Dickerson trying to cut inside and gets a couple. Jim Kovac, the left inside linebacker, makes the stop. A very steady performer is Kovac, who is actually in his 4th year of medical school.
Yes, he is. He's got 28 more hours in a semester or two to be a bona fide doctor. OB-GYN, he said.
Very intelligent performer. Dickerson goes out of the ball game. He is replaced by Barry Redden, the #1 draft choice last year. He didn't play last week against the Giants, out with an ulcer. Didn't play much last season. 2nd and 8 at the 42. David Hill in motion. And here is Barry Redden carrying, being chased by Jim Wilkes. And good pursuit by the Saints up at the 45-yard line. Whitney Paul and Dennis Winston, a couple of linebackers, make the stop.
John Robinson said that if he had to replace Eric Dickerson early, it would be with Barry Redden because he's a pounder type of guy. And a little later on, if the defense gets tired and Dickerson can't play, he'd go with Robert Alexander, who's a little bit quicker. So this is his game plan right here. He didn't want to leave Dickerson in as much as he did last week against the Giants. 31 carries for him. He responded well, but he'd like to get him more rest than that.
Redden could play early, and Robert Alexander with good speed could be in there later. Tony Elliott comes in for Bruce Clark on defense. 3rd and 4 at the 46. Ferragamo hit his last pass to Gooman. Goes this time for David Hill, and he was there, couldn't hold on. Ricky Jackson defending on the play. It'll be 4th down. So David Hill, acquired from the Detroit Lions, where he lost his motivation, trying to get back into shape, and Ferragamo now 1 for 3. It'll be 4th down in a punting situation.
Good throw by Ferragamo. He really had it right on the shelf here for David Hill. Ricky Jackson out there, and Hill has a step or two. Ball should have been caught by Hill.
So it's 4th down, and John Misko, who was 2nd in the NFC punting last year, will do the kicking. Jeff Groth is deep for the Saints. He's standing at the 25-yard line. And Groth is back at the 16-yard line. And Groth brings it out to about the 22, where the tackle is made by Jimmy Collins. A 38-yard punt by John Misko, gangly at 6'5", 207. We'll be back in Anaheim. No score, first quarter. So the Saints go on offense for the first time. 1st and 10 at the 22. Bum Phillips, who has really turned this club around in a hurry. They didn't have a winning record last year, but they are playing just about everyone that they had from last season. Ken Stabler, who only was in for 3 plays against the Cardinals last week, started to practice, and you know if he can go at it at all, he's going to be in there. Wayne Wilson, the up back, and George Rogers. In motion is Jeff Grove. And here is George Rogers. Wilson, good block, allows Rogers to get past the 25-yard line to about the 26, where the tackle is made by Greg Meisner, the nose tackle, and Nolan Cromwell, the left safety. So the Saints with Kenny Stabler, the veteran, George Rogers, who went over 200 yards, Wayne Wilson, Lindsey Scott, #1 draft pick last year, and Jeff Groth are the wide receivers. And a fine offensive line. Stan Brock anchors the right tackle. Brad Edelman, a good one at left guard. And Hobie Brenner out of USC, the tight end. It'll be 2nd and 6 at the 26 for 37-year-old Kenny Stabler. And it's Rodgers again. Penalty marker is down as Rodgers is stopped at about the 28-yard line. George Andrews, the linebacker, makes the tackle for the Rams. And you're looking at our referee, Bob McElwee. We'll sort this one out. Saints have never started a season at 2-0, holding against New Orleans. They won both of their games against the Rams 2 years ago. When George Rodgers was a rookie, they didn't play last year because of the strike.
You know, Dick, it's amazing. Both teams using 3-4 defenses. The Rams just switched over to that this year. From 4-3 they had been in forever, it seemed like. But with double tight ends, and we'll listen to the call.
Holding, number 67, offense, 2nd down.
Stan Brock.
But with double tight ends that both teams use, it really turns your 3-4 back into a 4-3 because it puts one linebacker back up on the screen. Here it is, right side over here. There's your penalty, blocking from behind.
Stan Brock, number 67, so it'll be 2nd and 16. Hokie Gajan, number 46, replaces George Rodgers at 2nd and long. And Wayne Wilson, a good pass receiver, goes out to the slot left. Stabler throws a good ball, and Wilson is on the receiving end, out of bounds at the 21. It'll be 3rd and 10 now for the Saints, and Leroy Irvin, who is starting at right cornerback for the Rams after distinguishing himself as an outstanding punt returner, knocked Wilson out of bounds. Jack Youngblood, who had an outstanding game. Greg Meisner at nose tackle, and Reggie Doss, Mel Owens, Jim Youngblood, Carl Eckert, and George Andrews. Collins, Irvin, Johnny Johnson, and Nolan Cromwell. That's how they started, but of course they move into the nickel situation as Vince Newsom, number 22, a rookie, is in there. 3rd and 10 at the 22. In motion is Groth. Stabler with enough time finds Lindsey Scott, and Scott is piled up short of a first down. Leroy Irvin, among others, stopped him at the 30-yard line. George Andrews, too. And so the Rams, who were an aggressive, spirited group last year against the Giants, hold the Saints. It'll be 4th down, and Russell Erxleben will be in the punt. There's Leroy Irvin, who actually gave up his punt return duties to Henry Ellard before Ellard got hurt last week. So Irvin really has double duty out there. Erxleben at the 15. Good high kick. Irvin backpedaling to the 15. He can break him, but not that time. Not even close. He stopped at the 25.
It's a great special teams effort there. A sensational kick by Erxleben, but did you notice when New Orleans went down, the first 4 or 5 guys that were down there broke down, got under control when they were about 10 yards away from the ball carrier, and that's the way you're supposed to do it.
55-yard punt by Erxleben. Show you how calm and cool he is. John Robinson, the Rams coach, watched his old team USC against Florida yesterday.
He said he could hardly wait to get back in coaching after being in that other job, administrative position for USC.
1st and 10 at the 25 for the Rams. No score. 10:28 remaining in the first quarter. Mike Guman comes in motion. And here's Eric Dickerson trying to find a hole, and just wasn't there. The white-shirted Saints, Johnny Poe, strong safety, was there to make the tackle. A lot of action going on in the second weekend in the National Football League, and let's bring you up to date. They're in overtime in Atlanta, the Giants and the Falcons.
2 good defenses there.
Giants had a lead early. Washington with a 23-13 lead over Philadelphia. That's a final score. Skins 2 in a row. Skins now 1-1, I should say. Dallas over St. Louis.
St. Louis had a chance early in that one, but they couldn't capitalize on a couple possessions in close against the Cowboys.
Always comes back to haunt you. Chicago wins its first, beating Tampa Bay 17-10. 2nd and 6 at the 29. Dickerson wears number 29. Guman in motion. 2 tight ends in there now. Barber and Hill. This pass was intended for Guman, and I think the Saints were kind of watching Guman there. We have a penalty marker down on that incomplete pass near the line, and we will have a holding call against the Rams, so that evens up the holding call so far.
It was good coverage that time in the Saints secondary. They did have a blitz on, sending in Ricky Jackson from the left side, the outside linebacker. He was picked up, but still enough penetration to make Ferragamo throw the ball early.
Saints with a fine defense of the 22 that were around, both starters and reserves when Bum Phillips arrived on the scene. Only 3 left.
Number 62, offense, second down.
Bill Bain, who had such a fine game against Lawrence Taylor and the Giants last week, number 62, holding on the play. So call it 2nd and 16 now on the Rams 19. Chance for the Saints to really bury the Rams.
Well, at least get good field position on a punt return if they can hold them.
Bill Hurley, number 28, the nickelback now for New Orleans. Mike Barber moves out. And Gubin goes in motion. Draw play, Eric Dickerson. Gets to about the 23-yard line. Derlin Moore and Jim Wilkes up front combined to make the stop. Derlin Moore, the eldest Saint, joined them in 1974, coming off his best year. And he says when you get old, you move inside. He used to be an outside lineman, and he is a standard bearer of that defense. Other scores around the league to bring you up to date. Exciting one in Detroit. Cleveland leading.
Detroit pitched a shutout last week, but not this time.
Pittsburgh gets on the board, beating Green Bay, so both those teams are now 1-1. And Buffalo over Cincinnati. 3rd and 11 at the 24. Gordon Jones, number 25, who's just signed this week. Former Tampa Bay wide receivers in the game, and this pass is thrown out to Eric Dickerson, who couldn't hold on to it. He was being charged anyway by Dennis Winston.
Dirt Winston, last year's MVP on this New Orleans defensive side. Good coverage out in the flat that time, and whenever a veteran gets a shot at a rookie like this, especially a heralded rookie that could hurt you later on in a game, watch him just give a little extra out here on the way down. See that?
Welcome to the league.
Wanted to plant him a little bit.
Winston will do that. So John Misko back to punt. Jeff Groth at the 35-yard line. So the Saints, there is Jeff. Not so fast, but he's very elusive on those punt returns. A very solid player. He has good hands. Not going to drop too many. And Groth at the 37-yard line. And Groth, penalty markers are down. We might have a clip as Groth gets close to midfield for the Saints. We have a penalty marker down. Jeff Simmons makes the tackle for the Rams. So this could take away a good field position situation if the penalty indeed is against the Saints. Illegal block by New Orleans. It was a 39-yard punt by Misko. 8:39 remaining in the first quarter. No score. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker from Anaheim Stadium. The Rams have really undergone a lot of changes. 18 new faces, 7 new assistant coaches, a new defense, 3-4.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 53 on the return team. First down.
They seem to be happy about it, about the changes in the fact that John Robinson is their coach. Much like the New Orleans Saints attribute their turnaround in the past couple of seasons to that guy standing over there, Bum Phillips. Both of these teams have a ton of respect for their coaches.
Back here at Anaheim Stadium, no score between the Saints and the Rams. 8:39 to go. The Giants on Ali Haji Sheikh's 30-yard field goal in overtime beat Atlanta 16-13. So those teams are now 1-1. On the 33-yard line, George Rogers gets by 1, gets by 2, and almost breaks Johnny Johnson's attempted tackle and would have been off to the races. As it is, Rogers picks up a first down. He had 2 brilliant games against the Rams 2 years ago.
What do you think, Dick? You think John Robinson is familiar with this play? The toss out of the I formation with that's not Marcus Allen running the ball, though. That's a guy that John Robinson said is built like a tackle and runs like Tony Dorsett. But that's student body right that USC ran for so many years.
And George Rogers, 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. He has picked up 14 yards on 2 carries thus far. So at the 43, here is Rogers again. This time, not as successful. He does pick up 2 yards. And you're going to see a lot of George Rogers today. Jack Youngblood, left end, makes the tackle. George Rogers, of course, had surgery during the offseason, and that's an unusual kind of surgery.
On his legs, right, he was bothered with leg cramps, and actually what they did was they released some of the tissue in his calf muscles to allow the calves to expand a little bit more. And George Andrews, the Ram linebacker, said, "Can you imagine how strong a guy is when they have to take muscle out of his leg?"
2nd and 8 at the 45. Stabler gets it off, and this time Wayne Wilson has a first down for the Saints at the Ram 45. George Andrews drove him out of bounds, and so Wayne Wilson out of little-known Shepherd College and a good receiver has a first down.
You know, a lot of people question Ken Stabler's arm. You know, can he still throw deep? But when he has to get something on the ball, he can do it. This is a short completion, but the ball is on line with a lot of zip, and it's thrown wide. It covered a lot of ground.
A 12-yard pickup and a 1st and 10 for the Saints on the Ram 44. And there's that man Rogers again. Rogers charges into both safeties. Johnson and Cromwell driving back a couple of yards, and a good 7 picked up by George Rogers on that play. We told you what he did against the Rams 2 years ago. Gained 162 yards in one game and 161 in the next. I think he likes playing against this team.
But watch this offensive line of the New Orleans Saints. Watch the white jerseys up front. Look at the surge right here. Man-to-man blocking, and Rogers, who is deep in the tailback position, picks a hole. Right now, New Orleans is controlling the line of scrimmage. And that's a good offensive line they've got. Make no mistake about it.
And this is not a physical Los Angeles Rams defense. 2nd and 4 on the 38. And Rogers carries. He'll be close to a first down at the 35-yard line. Less than 6.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And Jack Youngblood, Johnny Johnson combined to make the stop on George Rogers. Well, they were all talking about him yesterday. And one of the things that the Saints Rams were talking about was you say you just have to make sure you got him down.
You mentioned that the Rams aren't a physical defense. You know, they are a physical defense, but they're just not a big defense. Those guys up front, Youngblood, as you're looking at right there, and the rest of the people are all around 250 pounds, and that's, I know what you meant.
3rd and 1 now. Rich Maudie in motion, and Rogers has the first down. So George Rogers, don't forget he's running behind a very solid and young offensive line. John Hill in his 12th year as the veteran, but Oubre is in his 2nd year, Brock in his 4th, Lafari in his 7th, and Edelman in the 2nd. And don't forget Steve Court, the #1 draft pick, can't break in yet.
Right, look at those two tackles. You mentioned Brock, he's 285 pounds. Lafari is 275. They're huge up front. He's put together a great offensive line, Bum Phillips has.
George Rogers goes out of the game momentarily. Oki Gajan, number 46, who had a fine game against the Cardinals, is in there. And on play action, Stabler going up top to Jeff Groth. And Groth has grabbed it in the crowd, getting hit, and a first down at the 12-yard line. Terrific catch, and now you know why Stabler likes to throw to the Fred Biletnikoff clone.
Well, he's their medium-range guy, runs great patterns. They've had a special hookup that first started in Houston. They played some together in Houston, but Groth told us it really didn't happen until Stabler they got together in New Orleans and had a lot of practice time together. He loves the way Stabler throws the ball. He says he'll always have just enough on it, and he'll put it where no one else can get it but you.
A 21-yard pickup. Groth, who says he doesn't want to be compared to anyone, just wants to be himself. Gajan barrels his way to the 10-yard line on 1st and 10 at the 12. Youngblood, that's Jack Youngblood, makes the tackle. Mel Owens helps out. 4:28 remaining in the first quarter, no score. Jack Youngblood, 33 years old, accepted John Robinson, was really a sounding board for John when the new coach came on. Other scores around the league now. The Raiders over Houston, first quarter 6-0. No score first quarter, Seattle and the New York Jets and Baltimore. 3-0 over Denver. 2nd and 8. Saints threatening on the 10-yard line, and Lindsey Scott, the ball was overthrown, and Leroy Urban is claiming offensive interference against Lindsey Scott, and he won't get the call. Urban, who had 2 interceptions last week against the Giants, and Lindsey Scott, the #1 pick from Georgia last year, hooking up.
I think perhaps he had a legitimate complaint. Look at the left hand right of Lindsey Scott was on Urban's back as the ball was on its way.
It'll be 3rd and 8. Rich Maudie, number 84, is in there, and Kenny Duckett, who caught a TD pass wide right, number 83, and Stabler is going in, and the pass intended for Maudie. No flag down. Nolan Cromwell was covering on the play. So Stabler comes up empty, and the Saints do, and now they'll try to get on the scoreboard by virtue of a field goal. It'll be 4th down, and Morton Anderson will come in.
Excellent job that time by the Rams secondary, in particular Nolan Cromwell, who was on the coverage there. Got up and was playing kind of bump and run from a new position for him. He's at strong safety this season, not free safety, which we've seen him so much. And as we go along this game, we'll tell you why.
27-yard attempt by Morton Anderson, who did not attempt a field goal last week against the Cardinals. This kick is up, and it is good. And the New Orleans Saints, with 3 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in the first quarter, have scored on a Morton Anderson 27-yard field goal. So Bum Phillips has his team up by 3 when we come back to Anaheim. The Saints lead at 3-0. They went 67 yards on 11 plays, 3:54 to go in the quarter. And Morton Anderson, who kicked the 27-yard field goal, he speaks 6 languages on the Danish handball team. Barry Redden will receive. These kickers have strange hobbies, don't they? This one sails out of the end zone. And there's no wind to speak of.
Later on in the year when it gets cold. That's why you see those kickers go out there and pick up the ball on the kickoffs and knead it a little bit and break the casing on it somewhat.
Well, the Rams start out on the 20, 1st and 10. Just under 4 minutes to go, and in motion is George Farmer. Eric Dickerson. Dickerson bursts through and gets a good 8 yards. I don't know. I'd like to take a look to see whether that was really a clean handoff, Wayne.
Hard to tell from as high as we are up in the stadium. We can see it on the monitor, perhaps. John Robinson likes to talk about Dickerson, how he finishes off runs. I know that in the game last week, John Madden mentioned that Dickerson that time, right at the point of contact, surges forward and gets a yard or 2 extra by taking on the tacklers right at the end of every run. That's what Robinson means by finishing off a run.
He also said that Dickerson's the kind of runner that can make you miss him. 2nd and 2 at the 28 now. Gooman comes in motion, and Dickerson gets the first down, loses the ball, and Gooman, I think, picked it up, but he might have lost it too, and he did. And the Saints have recovered. Gooman had it, and then he lost it. And the Saints, all of a sudden, have a gift. They've got the ball on the Rams 35. Johnny Poe comes up with the ball.
Ball popped out there pretty good on Dickerson after it looked like he had control. Usually when that happens to a running back, it means that somebody got a helmet on the football. Derlin Moore, the nose tackle, made the hit. Let's watch him, number 74 in the middle. And here comes Dickerson. Now he reached in with a hand and stripped it down. And Mike Gooman's going to be extremely disappointed he didn't come up with the football right under his chest.
He was in the right spot. So Johnny Poe recovers the fumble for the Saints. It's 1st and 10 on the Rams 35 with 2:58 remaining in the first quarter. George Rogers smacked hard. Carl Eckern in his 7th year coming off knee surgery, as so many of the Ram linebackers are. He's a very smart player. He got hurt in the first game right after the strike last season, and he smacked Rogers as hard as he can. Cleveland beats the Lions 31-26, and New England leading Miami in the first quarter. 2nd and 7 at the 32. Eugene Goodlow, number 88, has come in the ball game. He's a receiver to watch, but here is Rogers going wide. Rogers inside the 30. And is awfully close to a first down. See where they spot the ball. George Rogers going to the right side, has a first down at the 24-yard line. Johnny Johnson and Kirk Collins in the secondary made the stop on Rogers, and they're going to have to adjust that uniform a lot. There's Johnny Johnson, aggressive player in his 4th year from Texas. Rogers has gained 38 yards so far on 8 carries. Oki Gajan comes in the game 1st and 10 at the 24, so George gets a breather in the heat. A wise thing to do. Pitch goes to Wayne Wilson. Good spin by Wayne Wilson. Tough to bring down, and they haven't yet. Whistle blows when he brings it to the 20. What an effort there by Wayne Wilson. Irvin and Johnson.
Hey, that's enough to lift a team, that kind of effort right there. George Andrews gets good penetration. Look at him, number 52 on the outside right here. He gets good penetration right here. Looks like he's going to make the play. Blocked a little bit from behind. You saw the spin out by Wayne Wilson, and now all it is just a tough run, determination, and I don't want to go down.
Reminds me of a rodeo out there. Wayne Wilson. So it's now 2nd and 6 on the 20 for Kenny Stabler. Methodically moving the club. Eugene Goodlow is in motion, making growth, and Wayne Wilson gets the call again. Helmet down. You can hear it as he gets to the 19. Carl Eckert drives and makes that tackle. Eckert, Jim Youngblood, and Jim Collins, the inside linebackers for the Rams. It's going to be 3rd down, and so Stabler has to be thinking pass here.
You know, Dick, we mentioned at the top of this telecast that both coaches believe in playing a physical type ball game, that they think you can physically dominate, and that last play, the last 2 plays, really a good indication. If you look at John Robinson, you've heard the helmets popping out there, and there's a lot of hitting going on in that field right now. High emotion, both sides.
15 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 3rd and 5 at the 19. Myron Lapka and Gary Jeter, 4-man line, and Wayne Wilson fumbles. And let's see who recovers. The Saints may have, if they recovered, they'd be close to a first down, oddly enough. Wilson was stopped short. He fumbled the ball. Dave LaFari came in, and we are going to have a timeout for a measurement. So Wayne Wilson was actually stopped 3 yards short, fumbled the ball, and LaFari
hustling downfield, actually. He's the offensive tackle on the left side, so he was coming across trying to get a block, picked up the fumble.
But he's short of a first down by a foot as the gun sounds, ending the first quarter. So it'll be 4th down, and Bub Phillips has a little bit of time to think things over. And at the end of the first quarter here in Anaheim, the New Orleans Saints lead the Los Angeles Rams 3-0. 4th and 1 for the Saints as we start the second quarter. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker here at Anaheim Stadium. Tim Wilson is coming to the game, acquired from Houston. What do you call him?
He's the human battering ram. Bum Phillips says he's the best lead blocker he's ever seen.
And he was the blocker for Earl Campbell. He's got George Rogers, and Rogers barrels his way, and that's going to be close. It is not an obvious first down for Rogers. They'll see where they are on the skin portion of the baseball infield. Myron Lapka and Jack Youngblood combined to make the tackle.
You know they made it, Dick, when you don't see the defense leaving the field. Those guys then have been playing football long enough to know that if they had stopped him, someone would be starting off.
I know. You would have led the charge when you played.
Get over and get something cool to drink on a day like today.
Good balance in the first quarter for the Saints despite George Rogers' presence. 48 yards rushing, 45 passing, and an edge over the Rams. Rogers and Guyjon, and in the backfield, George Rogers gets hit once and then doesn't go anywhere. Jack Youngblood,
believe it, came all the way down inside from left in and made that stop. Unless he changed positions on us while we weren't looking. That was a great chase by number 85 Youngblood.
He is a rejuvenated lineman, that's for sure. He says playing the Saints is like playing 2 games because it is a division game and a conference game. That could really tell late in the year. George Rogers is limping off, and that's bears watching for sure. He's replaced by Jimmy Rogers, a 4th-year running back out of Oklahoma at 5'10", 190. The Saints without George Rogers, well, you can figure that one. 2nd and 8, and into the line. Guyjon.
The Saints say, excuse me, Dick, the Saints say that Guyjon is perhaps our most improved player this year. Had a great training camp, had a good preseason. He's a real tough kid that just hits anything that moves, and everyone on the ball club likes him a lot.
He was on injured reserve. He was in an automobile accident, and he battled back and came back, and a lot of people didn't give him that much of a chance to make the team, but he's made it on guts and hard-driving play. 3rd and 4 for the Saints at the 7. Double tight ends with Hobie Brenner joined by Larry Hardy. Kenny Stabler goes to Guyjon, has Edelman blocking, and Guyjon fights his way inside the 2 and may have a first down. Good block by Brad Edelman at left guard.
And a good tough run by number 46, Guyjon. Nothing sideways about that run. He got turned upstream. Watch it here. Both guards pulling, trying to close down. Edelman out on the left side in front. He takes on Youngblood. That was just enough there. And a good tough run by Guyjon.
And a first down for the Saints, so it'll be 1st and goal at the 2. And Gary Jeter, number 77, comes in. Guyjon will be the bull now with George Rogers out. He's joined by Wayne Wilson in the backfield. Rich Maudie in motion, and Guyjon is stopped short. Got maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 1, and the Rams really put up a tough front there.
It's an important sequence right here. talk about those times in the game. Now, New Orleans down here once, and they just came away with 3 points. If they just get 3 again, it could be a drop-off in their intensity level. If the Rams would hold them to the 3, then it'd pick them up some.
Wayne Wilson, Hokie Gajan, and now Tim Wilson, number 45, come in the game. Gajan is at the wing-back position. Second and goal. Gajan in motion. Wayne Wilson stopped short again. He didn't make it. And it was Carl Eckern, who already has made 3 big tackles at linebacker for the Rams.
You'll get an excellent look at it as we replay it for you from the end zone. Watch the 2 inside linebackers. There's the motion across. 55 Eckern on the read with the flow right here. He stays behind the ball carrier. Perfect position. And scrapes him up high off the top.
Third and goal. Carl Eckern, who has really been the key for the Rams defense. Not big, but he is physical, isn't he? Third and goal. And Wayne Wilson goes over the top. Touchdown. Wayne Wilson. The touchdown and his second touchdown rushing of the season. He had one against the Cardinals last week.
Good surge again by the offensive line. John Hill, Louis Obrey, Stan Brock over on the right-hand side. But a good tough stand here by the Rams, too. Look at Youngblood. He's got his man stood up, and then that's just good effort going over the top. You see so much more of that now, of backs leaping over the top. The linebackers know that, too. They scrape up off the top themselves. But Wilson had too much that time.
So Morton Anderson, who put the Saints in front with a 27-yard field goal, will now try to make it 10-0. Guido Merkins holds, the kick is up, and it's good. So a good point, Wayne, because if the Saints had come up empty there, it would have been similar, and we have a penalty flag down. Let's wait and see what it is. Bob McElwee. Penalties against the Rams. Johnny Johnson, it'll be declined, and so the conversion is good, and we may have it.
Personal foul
running
into the kicker
on the kickoff.
Number 20 on the defense. Be assessed on the kickoff.
So it'll be marked off on the kickoff. So if you don't get the 7 points when you should, it could come back to haunt you. The Saints are happy. 10:57 remaining in the second quarter. New Orleans 10, Los Angeles nothing. George Rogers on the bench with a twisted knee. They say he'll be back.
They just put a wrap on it.
Morton Anderson will kick off for the Saints. 10-0 New Orleans leads. Talk about ball control. The Saints have it so far in this game. Coming up, Barry Redden on the 7-yard line. Redden gets to the 25. He's a tough bull and is tackled at the 33-yard line. A good run back by Barry Redden and the tackle by Rodney Lewis. So the Rams trying to get back in this ball game. It'll be 1st and 10. Here is the scoring drive for the Saints to put them up 10-0. 7 minutes and 1 second, all rushing plays. And so far, the Saints have had the ball 13.5 minutes to 5.5 for the Rams. And that's ball control personified.
Well, it's telling in the score right now, but later on, it's going to tell in the condition of these athletes. If you keep that Ram defense on the field that much, the big guys up front could be in a little trouble.
1st and 10 at the 32. Let's see if Ferragamo tries to go to some of his inexperienced receivers. Otis Grant, the rookie. Gooman goes in motion. Ferragamo, 1st down, going up top for Barber, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Johnny Poe. And Poe still going. Out of bounds at the 45-yard line of the Rams. So Johnny Poe with an interception and a fumble recovery on a pass that was overthrown, intended for Mike Barber.
Ferragamo and Mike Barber were a big connection last week in the Rams win over the Giants. Here it is now from behind. Look at Gooman in motion going back. Straight drop back, good protection, and just a touch overthrown because he was open for a while. But Johnny Poe, the normal right cornerback, playing a strong safety today, comes up with a big play for New Orleans.
He did not have an interception last year, had one the year before, and so defense gives the Saints the ball again when we come back to Anaheim. That's the time remaining in the second quarter. The Saints on Johnny Poe's interception have it 1st and 10 at the 45. Jimmy Rogers and Hokie Gajan are the running backs. Play action for Stabler. And he goes outside and dropped by Gajan. He had it, and he was open. Just couldn't hold on. So Kenny is 4 for 7 now for 45 yards.
We talk about Bum Phillips being a leader on the New Orleans team from the sideline, but number 16 right there really has the admiration of a lot of people, as does his head coach. The young guys on this New Orleans Saints team just love Stabler.
2nd and 10 at the Ram 45. And here's Jimmy Rogers. And Rogers cuts inside and is stopped at the 39-yard line. He picks up 4 on the play. Johnny Johnson, the right safety, makes the tackle on Jimmy, who played at Oklahoma with good company like Billy Sims and David Overstreet and Elvis Peacock. Miami has taken the lead over New England in the second quarter in the AFC. And final score, the Browns over the Lions, 31-26. 3rd down and 6 at the 41. Eric Harris, who was acquired from Kansas City. Rams number 26 is the nickel back for him. 3 wide receivers in there for the Saints. And Stabler goes this time to Lindsey Scott, who has the first down. They're waiting for Lindsey Scott to really explode. The number 1 draft pick from Georgia didn't catch a pass last week.
And another great throw here. Watch number 16. Good protection up front. He has all day. Lindsey Scott working against Eric Harris, number 26 out here. Drove him deep, came back a couple steps on a comeback pattern, and almost broke away right here before Harris secured.
An 8-yard pass, good enough first down. At the 32-yard line, Lindsey Scott came on strong in the last 2 preseason games. The light all of a sudden came on. Hopes to continue it. On first down, here's Hokie Gajan, who dropped that same pass before. He held on to it this time and is tackled at the 30-yard line. A pickup of about 2. Reggie Doss, the defensive right end, makes the stop. Under 9 minutes, clock running, remaining in the second quarter. Reggie Doss, who had one of the sacks against the Giants last week, full-time starter for the first time last year. They say he'll get better with experience. A lot of new faces, particularly on defense for the Rams. First down, Story. Tim Wilson replaces Gajan at fullback. 2nd and 8. Stabler has no receivers open and is hit as he gets rid of the ball, and it squirts away. Reggie Doss really put the pressure and got a piece of Kenny on that one.
Almost looked like for a minute that thoughts of running that football crossed Stabler's mind.
That's the last thing he'll want to do.
Well, so the guy said he did it last year in a game. He kind of rolled out and made 4 or 5 yards and came back to the huddle laughing and told him in the huddle he didn't think the old man could do that.
Jim Peterzak and Kelvin Clark are in for Hill and Oubre. So Bum Phillips with the heat is resting his linemen early, not waiting till the end. 3rd and 8 at the 30-yard line. And Kenny Stabler going to the air again. And this pass is almost intercepted by Nolan Cromwell. He had it and couldn't hold on. The intended receiver for the Saints, Larry Hardy.
Here's a pattern right here. Now, you won't see Stabler do this very often. He really threw this into a crowd. Here's the cut inside. Now, watch Nolan Cromwell playing back. He's almost playing like his old free safety spot in center field again and reacted to the football, had his hands on it.
Eugene Goodlow was the intended receiver right there. So it's 4th down. And Merkins will hold, and Anderson, who's been booming the kickoffs and has a field goal already, will try a 47-yard attempt.
47-yard field goal.
And it's long enough, but it's off to the right. No good. So the Rams defense holds. Anderson misses the long field goal attempt, and with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half, the Rams, who have not been able to generate an offense, really haven't had the ball all that much. Will try again against the Saints. First and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Rams, who have started each of their 5 possessions inside of their own 33-yard line. So besides not getting good field position, they've been coughing up the ball, and the Saints have been using the clock well. Eric Dickerson didn't really get much acceleration going. Stopped at the 30-yard line by Reggie Lewis and Tony Elliott, 2 of the backups on the Saints. We were talking about Derlin Moore yesterday, visiting with him as we see a holding penalty against the Rams. He said that the backups, the reserves on the Saints, are better than the starters were 6 years ago.
And Bum Phillips said if there's a strong point to his team, it's the fact that they are deep all the way across.
So this will set the Rams back to their 20.
Holding, number 78, offense, first down.
That was Jackie Slater, the veteran right tackle.
Situation now that the defensive linemen love, Dick. First and 20. They can just take some chances and think about rushing the passer here.
Ricky Jackson, number 57, a big play blitzer. Rob Nairn, who did not start the game, is in there. Number 55, Ferragamo takes a deep drop on first down. Waits, and the pass intended for David Hill, the tight end, incomplete. And the crowd here, about 50,000 at Anaheim Stadium, getting a little testy about the Rams thus far. In the U.S. Open, the men's singles final, Jimmy Connors, the defending champion, won the first set over Ivan Lendl 6-3 and leads 1-0 in the second. That's the best 3 out of 5. Lendl trying to win his first major tournament. Connors just trying to win another title.
Could get a draw here in this situation. So sure passing down, but they might try to cross him up with a run or a draw to Dickerson.
Second and 20 at the 20. Ferragamo 1 of 6, 14 yards. It's a running play. Dickerson off the right side. They're hoping he can break one. And there goes Eric Dickerson. He has a first down at the 39-yard line. And they spotted at the 40. Bill Hurley, the nickel back, made the stop. So maybe that's a shot in the arm for the Rams. It wasn't a draw play, but it was not the pass that you would expect there.
No, it was a pretty good call. Of course, it's a good call when it works, but as I mentioned before, the defense is all thinking pass right now. The defensive linemen are thinking pass rush. They got their heads down trying to get some penetration, and it helps to get people outside. And once they do, this is what happens when you've got this kind of ability. He tore away from 2-3 people there, made a good tough run, and he said if his toe bothered him at all, it would cut down on his speed, but it didn't look like it did on that run. He looked like he had jets in there.
It's a first down as they measure it. Eric Dickerson, who's 6'3", 218, and everyone will tell you he looks bigger than his size. He now has carried 7 times for 49 yards. And a first down for the Rams, a big play for them with 7:39 remaining in the second quarter. The Saints lead the Rams 10-0. Dickerson will get a breather, and Barry Redden comes into the game. So Dickerson and Rogers. Wears glasses under that helmet. Reminds a lot of the Saints fans of Chuck Muncie, who did the same. First and 10 at the 40 now. Ferragamo on first down. Has plenty of time. Complete. Mike Barber. First down into New Orleans territory at the 42-yard line. Johnny Poe makes the tackle. An 18-yard pickup, and there's that man Barber again.
Right, and we talked about the job that New Orleans Saints offensive line is doing. The Rams a good job that time for Ferragamo. They gave him all kinds of time. Watch him looking to the left right here. Nobody there, so now he has to go down the middle. He made a good adjustment by reading the defense and had enough time to find Barber here. Kovac misses the tackle, and Barber picks up some extra.
Mike Barber, a lot of people think he doesn't have speed. I think he fools a lot of people.
People that know him well know he's fast.
Dickerson is back in the game. First and 10 at the 42-yard line of the Saints. David Hill goes in motion. Ferragamo sticking with a good thing, goes to the air, and a screen pass to Dickerson. Dickerson is hit at the 41. He'll end up picking up a couple of yards on the play. Dennis Winston makes the play. 1 yard on the play for Eric Dickerson on a screen. And Dirt Winston, that's one of the veterans on the young defense, basically, for Bum Phillips. Whitney Paul, who came over from Kansas City, and Winston, who, of course, has been with the winner with the Steelers.
Great reaction by the New Orleans linebackers that time. That's a tough play. That screen looked good when it first appeared out there. The linebackers closed on it so fast, so quickly. Got great reactions.
5:55 remaining in the second quarter. 10-0 Saints. Rams trying to get close enough to get on the board. George Farmer, the flanker, is in motion, and here's Dickerson up the middle. Grabbed by his shoe tops from behind by Rob Nairn, and is tackled at the 35-yard line. A good block by the center, Doug Smith. So it'll be third down and a long 2. Rob Nairn did not start. A good, smart outside linebacker, and Dickerson comes out of the game. He is replaced by Barry Redden. Dickerson, the second player picked in the NFL draft. Don't forget he's playing this game with a hyperextended right toe. There's Redden out of Richmond. Number 1 pick last year. 3rd and 2 at the 34. Barry Redden will have the first down. Penalty flag is down as Redden gets inside the 15. We had a flag thrown at the 35, and it may be against the Rams. It's a holding call. What do you think?
Well, I think what's going to be on David Hill blocking on the outside linebacker, Rob Nairn. Looked like he had him in good shape for a while. Turned him outside. They ran up inside of him, but I think they're going to call him for a hold.
The Rams are on a roll right here. This is if there's any time a penalty is untimely.
Number 81, offense.
That's right, Wayne. It is
down.
on David Hill, so it's 3rd down, and they're down at the 45-yard line. Let's try and see it on the left side.
All right, here's the toss now, and number 81, Hill, be working against 55, Rob Nairn. Pushing him with his hands. I can always tell when tight ends hold linebackers. I used to yell that all the time.
Especially when they wear 55.
True.
So it'll be 3rd and 12 at 44-yard line. So the Rams stumble on the penalty now. Now they have 3rd and long yardage. They haven't scored yet. 10-0 Saints lead. Ferragamo up the middle, and it's tipped by Bill Hurley, the nickel back, on the pass intended for George Farmer. And Ferragamo's upset. Good pressure by Derlin Moore.
Yes, it was. You really don't have to get a sack to bother the quarterback. The Saints had a stunt. Now look at the penetration right there. They were back there deep. They had their hands up. It makes it a tough throw for the quarterback. He has to throw underarms and overhands, and his vision is impaired. So just that good penetration and getting your hands up really helps.
John Misko will have to punt. So the Rams were really soaring for a while. Jeff Groth is back at the 12-yard line. 4:57 to go in the second quarter. It's 10-0. The Saints lead the Rams. Saints have never started off a season winning their first 2 games. And a long count. 8 seconds on the clock. And he wanted to go to the sideline so much, that kick went out of bounds at the 30, and Misko miscalculated. That's a 12-yard punt by John Misko. John Robinson's not going to get on his case. You can be sure of that. That's why the players like him. He communicates with him. Get him the next time, John. Four minutes and 51 seconds remain in the second quarter. 10-0. The Saints lead the Rams. Holding penalty stalled that drive, and now the Saints will have it 1st and 10 on their own 32-yard line. Jimmy Rogers and Tim Wilson are the running backs. George Rogers, with a twisted knee, has been out of the game for a while. And here's Rogers trying to get outside, and he barely does. Mel Owens, the left outside linebacker and a number 1 draft pick a couple of years ago, makes the tackle on Jimmy Rogers. So as long as the Saints are in front and in fair control as they are now, George can continue to get some rest on the sideline.
Well, they say Jimmy Rogers can do just about everything George Rogers can, except he's doing it with about 45 pounds less.
It'll be 2nd down 7 at the 35. Both wide receivers are out to the right. Up the middle, Rogers gets the call again, and the first man to hit him was Jimmy Collins, inside linebacker. Well, next week, another big slate of games on CBS, including a doubleheader. The NFL Today begins it all. You'll either see the Rams at the Packers or Chicago at New Orleans. 12:30 Eastern Time. Check your local listing. This is a doubleheader week, and the second game, it'll be the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys. So another big week of NFL action on CBS Sports. Giants and Cowboys both won today. Cowboys now 2-0. It's 3rd and 3 now at the 39-yard line, and Kenny Stabler going to the air. There's that man Groth. First down. Leroy Irvin twirls him out of bounds, but Jeff Groth, 17-yard pickup. You don't have to have the greatest speed if you know how to make the moves and can catch the ball.
Well, Ken Stabler said he reminds him of Fred Biletnikoff with more speed, and Bum Phillips said he reminds him of Mike Renfro. He runs great patterns. He's a tough kid. He'll catch anything you get close to him. He told us yesterday, he said, I'll be extremely happy when people know me for me instead of being compared to Biletnikoff or Renfro, and it's not going to be much longer that they will. He's a fine player.
He led the Saints in receiving last year. 1st and 10 at the 43. Gary Jeter replaces Jack Youngblood up front. And Tim Wilson carries and a penalty marker down. Tim Wilson, who rarely carried when he was with the Houston Oilers. He was the head-on blocker, as Wayne said, for Earl Campbell. Carried there, and we have a flag. Appears to be against the Saints as they're moving all the way back to the 40. 3:21 showing on the clock.
Holding number 64, offense, first down.
Dave LaFari, the left tackle. Other scores. Updating what's been happening. The Raiders lead Houston 13-0 in the second quarter. And Seattle 6-0 lifetime against the Jets. Doing it again against the Jets, 10-0. Baltimore still leading Denver 3-0. Tim Wilson and Wayne Wilson are the backs, and it's Stabler in the air. Almost intercepted by Kirk Collins on the pass intended for Wayne Wilson. And if Collins had picked that one off, he might have had clear sailing.
Doesn't bother him much, so. The story we got yesterday from him about John Robinson when he was an assistant with the Raiders, and Stabler was about 1 for 14 in the first half with a lot of throws like this. And Robinson said Stabler came into the locker room and sat around for about 10 minutes and got up and said, "Okay, guys, I was bad that first half, but I won't be the second half." He just doesn't let stuff get to him.
Well, that's part of Robinson's philosophy of not being tense. You know, last week he told Mike Barber, who got excited when they were behind, he said, "Don't worry, we'll come back and win, but relax. You have to have fun." 2nd and 20 at the 47. Stabler with another sideline pattern to Kenny Duckett. It is complete at the 38-yard line, or make it the 42-yard line of the Rams. They're still well short of a first down by about 9 yards.
Did we just not talk about it? He came back and threw a bullet in over there to Kenny Duckett. He seems to be throwing a lot better today to his left-hand side than he does across his body over the right. I think most throwers do.
Miami leading New England 10-3. The Dolphins have to go without Jimmy Cefalo and Tommy Vigorito, but they signed Don Strock again. At the 42, it's 3rd and 9. 3:12 remaining in the first quarter. Tim Wilson is the lone setback, and Stabler under siege. Throws the ball away. He was going to Duckett. Covering on the play was Kirk Collins, and a good pass rush. Jack Youngblood putting a lot of pressure on Kenny Stabler. Collins was covering Duckett well, though, on the sideline.
Youngblood and Stan Brock, the big offensive right tackle for New Orleans, having a real battle out there. This is the 5th time they've played against each other. They didn't meet last year, and Brock said that Jack got a couple sacks on me when I was a rookie in my rookie year, but I've done pretty well with him lately. And he's kept him out of there today.
Kenny Stabler done most of it on the ground. Russell Ertzleben, who threw away the shoes he's worn for 12 years as a kicker through prep school and high school and college. And the first years at the pro. Leroy Irvin is back for the Rams. And they're going to let this kick sail into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. And the Rams will take over on offense on the 20-yard line. The clock shows 2 minutes and 56 seconds to go into the first half. The Rams would like nothing more than to get something going before this half is history. The Rams will start from their 20 with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. George Rogers has been taken to the dressing room. They're going to check that twisted knee to see how severe it is. The Rams have not been able to really get any kind of field position, although they were driving when a penalty stopped their last drive. They started from the 20, 25, 30, and 33, actually 3 times on their own 20. Eric Dickerson is the setback, and Mike Gooman is in motion. Ferragamo finds Gooman. And a first down at the 42-yard line. Frank Watlet makes the strong hit on Mike Gooman, a solid performer out of Penn State, and a 23-yard pickup.
Well, one of the things that going in motion like Gooman did that time is it gets 4 receivers into the secondary extremely fast. 44 was in motion, heads up field, plenty of time by Ferragamo. Well, watch his concentration and determination by Gooman, because he catches one right here for number 49, Frank Watlet.
Not a flashy player, but rarely makes mistakes and will make the big play. Mike Gooman, who goes out of the game, and David Hill goes in. 1st and 10 now at the Rams' 43-yard line. 2:10 showing on the clock. David Hill is in motion. Ferragamo getting a rush, a screen to Dickerson. Dickerson to the 45, past midfield. And Eric Dickerson is out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Another first down, and what a smooth, fluid play by the rookie.
Oh, it's an exceptional run and just pure speed. Now, we mentioned before that a screen looked good that was set up. That one didn't look so good because Ferragamo didn't hold it too long. The longer you can hold the ball back there, the better that you sell the defense on it. You allow them to drop the longer you hold it. Ferragamo sets up here just for a second and goes back and starts looking for the screen, so he really didn't fool too many people. But watch this right now. Watch this speed, and this is just something you can't buy and something you don't want to sell. A move here to the outside. Watch him turn it on around Wadlett, who was in good position.
And something you can't teach. So a 25-yard pickup on a screen play by Eric Dickerson. And we have our 2-minute warning with 1:58 to go in the first half. The Rams 1st and 10 on the Saints 32. It's getting hotter. The temperature's 103 degrees on the field, and the Rams are also getting hotter with 1st and 10 at the 32.
You know, Dick, something I've noticed so far in the ball game by Ferragamo, every time he's gone deep, it's been down the middle. He hasn't tried to go deep to any of his wide receivers yet. We can perhaps look for that in this situation.
Without Denard and Ellard, he may be tentative in going to the likes of Otis Grant, Jeff Simmons, 2 rookies.
Well, that's a definite reason.
At the 32, Ferragamo on 1st down. And he's going to go for it all to George Farmer. And he can't do it. George Farmer, a flanker, had beaten Dave Waymer. And the pass was just about at the end of that end zone. And Farmer just couldn't hold on. But that was an exciting connection or misconnection between the two. Vince Ferragamo, impressive. You remember in the Super Bowl defeat in 1980, went to Montreal in the Canadian League in a disastrous year. And he feels that he didn't come up north there. It was kind of a profitable experience in some ways.
Yeah, I know Ferragamo likes Farmer because they connected really well at the end of last season. I think he caught 9 balls in Ferragamo's 500-yard game against the Bears.
2nd and 10 at the 33-yard line. Gordon Jones, the new addition at wide receiver, is in there now, number 25. Under pressure, Ferragamo loops it out to Dickerson. Dickerson at the 25 and runs out of bounds smartly and stops the clock inside the 20 and a first down. Whitney Paul almost got to him.
What happened here, right? That's the blitz. 51 Whitney Paul is blitzing right here. There's nobody out here to pick up the back. And Dickerson is wide open, but it's going to be called back. But the rookie's learned something already, hasn't he? Don't put your shoulder down and hit 2 guys on the sideline.
So one penalty really hurt the Rams the last time they were driving against the Saints, and now again.
Offensive pass interference, number 81, 2nd down.
And both penalties against David Hill. Offensive pass interference on 2nd down. Hill was going to come out of the ball game. It'll be 2nd and 20 at the 43-yard line.
Those are killers, especially when you're driving. You got something going, especially this time of the ball game, because you're probably not going to get another chance with the football if you don't get in the end zone.
Clock shows 1:45 remaining. 10-0. The Saints lead the Rams, who desperately want to get something out of this before halftime. Ferragamo gets an outside rush and dumps it off to Dickerson. Dickerson at the 30, and Whitney Paul made a fine move on Eric Dickerson. He wouldn't let him get away. A 14-yard pickup.
Ram fans are booing. They want a late hit call. They won't get it. This guy's a great athlete. He can catch.
Eric Dickerson, he can do that.
You know, Dick, you talk about his speed. When he was in high school, and you get a lot faster as you go on, but when he was in high school, he was timed at 9.4 in the 100-yard dash. He says he's run 9.3. A guy that size, tremendous speed.
And the LA Rams have called a timeout. They have 2 remaining with 1:32 to go in the first half. The preceding message was brought to you by the National Football League. The LA Rams have 142 yards total offense as they trail 10-0 with 1:32 to go in the first half. Eric Dickerson has 95 of those yards, 55 on the ground, 40 as a receiver. 3rd and 6 at the 29 now for Vince Ferragamo. showing a blitz. The pass up the middle. Caught. What a catch by George Farmer. He was clobbered by Frank Watlet, but Farmer holds on, and a first down for LA at the 20. A 13-yard pickup and a very big play for the Rams.
Watlet's a hitter, the second big hit, but the Rams receivers are holding on. That's another good catch under a lot of duress.
First reception by a wide receiver for the Rams today.
And it was over the middle.
And we have another timeout called for by the Rams that leaves them with one. And the clock shows 1:19 to go. So this is as close as Vince Ferragamo has brought the Rams. Let's see Farmer's catch. He was hit.
The Rams are doing a good job of protecting now because you see number 51 Whitney Paul in there. New Orleans has been doing a lot of blitzing on this drive. That's a great catch right there. Watlet came up and did all he could do to bring Farmer off the ball, but it just didn't happen.
Coming up at halftime, Brent Musburger and Irv Cross. And scores and highlights of a lot of action in the second week of the NFL. You saw John Robinson at the sidelines. George Farmer, you said favored receiver of Ferragamo and came on strong toward the end of last year, was a 9th-round draft pick.
Played the strike shortened season last year, Farmer did, but the 2 previous seasons to that he was injured both years, so not too many people know a lot about him. He's a little guy with great speed and good quickness, and as you saw right there, good concentration and can catch it.
We know one Ram fan, Georgia Frontieri, the president, who missed her first game ever last week with a detached retina, is following the Rams, hoping they can go 2-0, just as the Saints want to go 2-0. We hope she has a speedy recovery. 1:19 to go in the first half. On first down, Ferragamo. Caught by Barber inside the 5. Mike Barber with a fine catch. And Ferragamo has 5 passes. This one 17 yards. Watlet and Winston made the tackle in this drive.
Ferragamo had some pressure on him that time, too. There were Saints around him when he threw that ball. The great thing that he did, he didn't panic and totally run out of the pocket. Look at him looking around the field here. He looked left, he looked right. Look at all the Saints he's got around him. He maintained his composure, waited for somebody to come open, and you can't ask for any more than that.
It is first and goal at the 3. And here's Eric Dickerson. Touchdown. First NFL touchdown for Eric Dickerson, and you can be sure there'll be a lot more for this brilliant rookie. And the Rams get on the board with 34 seconds remaining in the first half. And we're going to see Chuck Nelson for the first time. He was a 4th-round draft choice out of Washington and the most accurate field goal kicker in the history of the NCAA. Nolan Cromwell will hold. And the kick is good, and it's a 10-7 game. Rams coming back on the arm of Vince Ferragamo, but this was Dickerson's play.
Now just a sensational move by Eric Dickerson on this play as he'll juke the safety Frank Watlet with kind of a skip step to the inside. Watch the toss, watch Watlet come up in good shape, and watch this move, skip back inside, Watlet goes by, and Dickerson's in the end zone.
Well, you kind of had the feeling the Rams needed a score when they took over with just under 3 minutes to go in this first half on their own 20. They have not been blessed with good field position at all in this game. They've been hampered by some untimely penalties that have stalled drives, but they came back, and now we have a close game at 10-7. The drive, 80 yards and 7 plays, and the kind people here in Anaheim welcome us, and we're happy to be here. And they did it in 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
But it lasted a lot longer than that and kept the defense out the field for a while because we had 2 or 3 timeouts involved in that drive. So the Rams defense got really their first long break of the day, and that should help them.
There is Chuck Nelson. And the University of Washington, John Robinson has expressed a lot of confidence in him. This kick is short and Duckett on the 7. Kenny Duckett to the 27-yard line. Tackled by Ivory Sully. So the scoring drive by the Los Angeles Rams. 2 minutes and 22 seconds, 7 plays and 80 yards, capped by Dickerson's 3-yard run. 10-7 the score with 28 seconds to go in the first half. Now at the U.S. Open at the National Tennis Center, Jimmy Connors, who won the first set 6-3, now trails Ivan Lendl 4-3 in the second set of their best of 5. And you'll see live action of the men's singles final after this game. First and 10 Saints now at their own 28. Jimmy Rogers gets past the 30 and picks up 4. Clock runs 15 seconds.
New Orleans in no hurry here either, Dick, so perhaps they're going to let it run out.
Getting back to Ferragamo, you know how he started 1 for 6. Well, he winds up 8 of 15 for 125 yards. He hit 5 big passes in that drive. 2 of them to Dickerson. And there's the gun ending the first half as John Robinson and his staff will talk things over, and so will Bum Phillips and his staff for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints lead the Rams in a battle of teams 1-0 in this early season, 10-7. Saints 10, Rams 7. See what happens with George Rogers, who didn't play in the second quarter when we come back.
Welcome back to New York. I'm Brent Musburger with Irv Cross. Let's take you out now to Flushing Meadow and update the tennis story. Jimmy Connors easily won the first set, 6-3. Right now, Connors is serving at 3-4 in the second set. A development just moments ago. Jimmy Connors, who is suffering from diarrhea, was forced to leave the court. He is allowed to go away under supervision once. They have told Lendl that if he has to leave again, Jimmy Connors will forfeit the match. He checked in today with an upset stomach. But again, in the first set, the story was the fact that Ivan Lendl was battling his nerves. He couldn't calm down. But here in the second set, you can see that the Big Czech is slowly bringing his game back together, hitting winners like that with his backhand down the line. There have been 4 service breaks in this second set. So Jimmy now will be serving. And, of course, it's at 15:30, and we will continue to update that throughout the halftime. But there are a lot of football scores that we also want to bring you up to date on. And the Chicago Bears, in dramatic fashion, pulled one out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The final was 17-10, and the Bears had to go into the fourth quarter to finally pull it out and win that game. Now, elsewhere around the league, Cleveland and Detroit, as we see here, that this is one of the touchdown passes to Walter Payton. He broke one of 70 yards to get on into the end zone. They isolated him beautifully against a linebacker, and that was the key play. That's the first time that Payton has traveled 50 yards since 1980 for a touchdown. Goldstein was going to Jimmy Giles, the tight end who had a long holdout but played today, and Giles broke this one down to the 1-yard line against Micah Ditka. Jim McMahon now forced to scramble here, and I've been asked several times, what about Willie Gault? How's he doing? Well, here he is at his most impressive best. Getting Long, the sprinter from Tennessee, with a 65-yard reception. Now, Goldstein was under pressure from the Bear defense in the second half. And here, after a fake punt, he forced the ball, and it was Schmidt picking it up and running it back for the touchdown that won the game and gave the Bears their 17-10 victory over the Buccaneers. Elsewhere this afternoon, Detroit and Cleveland. And Cleveland won for the first time in Detroit. The final was 31-26. The Giants and Atlanta. This game went into overtime before the Giants pulled it out for their new head coach, Bill Parcells. Irv?
Parcells had to be happy the way his team came back, but Brunner early in the ball game goes up and hits Ernest Gray for a touchdown, and the Giants appeared to have things under control, leading 10-0 at that point. Brunner comes back again later in the game, is picked off by Al Richardson, the linebacker from the Atlanta Falcons, who rambles down the near sideline, setting the ball up around the 12-yard line. And from there, Steve Bartkowski goes to work, fighting pressure under the blitz, finding Alfred Jackson in the end zone for a touchdown. The Falcons are back, and the game's all tied up 13-13. Parcells wondering what he has to do to get his cup coming back. On the ensuing kickoff, Mike Dennis, number 46, the New York Giants, returns this ball. Watch this return, a great return, Brent. Along the left sideline, he's hit. It looks like he's going to go all the way down inside the 10, but he stepped on the sideline further upfield for a 54-yard return. In overtime, field goal by Ali Haji Sheikh, and the Giants wind up with a winning score 16-13 in overtime, and what a comeback for them.
Sure was. And we'll continue here with the NFL Today after these messages from your local stations. In one of the more entertaining games this Sunday, the Pittsburgh Steelers held off the Green Bay Packers and James Lofton 25-21. Lofton would score 3 touchdown passes. Now here is Franco Harris taking a handoff, and of course he went over the 11,000-yard mark today, one of only 3 running backs who's accomplished that great feat, and he did it against Bart Starr and the Packers in Green Bay. And here's Lynn Dickey floating a bomb to James Lofton.
Bomb indeed. He is such a beautiful receiver to watch, Brent. Watch this catch. Just simply demolishes the secondary, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have an outstanding secondary, 72-yard touchdown pass for Lofton.
Lightning is about to strike again.
Well, when he gets up and going, you stay with it. Dickey liking this big target. Lofton stands 6'3", even though he has sprinter speed. Again, beats the secondary. This time goes in for another long touchdown pass. 73 yards.
Then it was the tough ground game of the Steelers. Consumed time on the clock, got a touchdown. Frank Pollard bolting in. And then there was also a safety. Dickey, in deep trouble, gets on into the end zone and simply cannot get out. Bob Coors took him down. It was 23-21 at the time. That was a big safety. Wound up 25-21. Now some of the other scores. Buffalo and Cincinnati. The Bills have not allowed a touchdown in 2 games this year, and they beat Cincinnati 10-6. That was the final in that game. Washington and Philadelphia. The Redskins win their 8th straight on the road, 23-13 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas down St. Louis, 34-17. The Cardinals scored the first 10 points in that game. And Seattle and the New York Jets, big afternoon in this one by Kurt Warner. The Seahawks lead the Jets 10-3. They are at the half there. Denver and Baltimore, it is 3-3. They are at the half in that game. And the Miami Dolphins are ahead of New England right now. It is 17-3, also at the half there. The Los Angeles Raiders trying to win for the second time, 13-3. They lead the Houston Oilers in the Coliseum. And finally, of course, the game you're watching from Anaheim, the New Orleans Saints looking much stronger this year. They are ahead of the Los Angeles Rams, 10-7. And, of course, that game is at the half. Eric Dickerson has scored. An update now on the U.S. Open score. They are still in the second set. Jimmy Connors has just held on. It is Lindell 5-4. Last year, these two played 4 sets, and, of course, Lindell was the loser. And he looked very bad in the opening set. They are having a court change because they are on the odd game. And just a moment ago, there was a double set point by Von Lindell. Jimmy Connors was able to hold it off and climb back in it now, and Lindell leads it 5-4. So, of course, throughout the afternoon, the second half of the football game, we will update that final for you at Flushing Meadow. And we'll continue with the Saints and the Rams here on CBS in just a moment.
Back at Anaheim, California, where the New Orleans Saints lead the Los Angeles Rams 10-7. Dick Stockton along with Wayne Walker. Rams scoring with 34 seconds left to go in the half to cut the margin to 3 points. We're going to take a look at the halftime statistics. And you'll notice out of the 182 yards for the Rams, 97 are accounted for by rookie Eric Dickerson.
So look at those. The key right there is time of possession. Although the Rams came back and got closer on the scoreboard, the Saints really controlled that first half. They ran off 38 plays to just 25 for the Rams.
They drove well into Saints territory. 3 times in the second period they finally scored, but the Saints, after a field goal, made it 10-0. Johnny Poe's fumble recovery led to this Wayne Wilson 1-yard touchdown run.
And this is after George Rogers went out, and a lot of the tough work on this drive was done by Hokie Gajan.
Then Ferragamo went to the air. 45 yards in passes to Dickerson, Farmer, and Barber, capped by this 3-yard run by Eric Dickerson.
And just an excellent move, as we mentioned. New Orleans in pretty good shape here. The strong safety makes a good read. Number 49 gets up, but a good cut got the rookie into the end zone.
His first NFL touchdown, Eric Dickerson, who picked up 58 yards and 9 carries in the first half. Of course, for the Saints, a lot of interest will be on George Rogers' condition. He went out with that twisted knee after gaining 42 yards in 10 carries. He is the leading rusher for the Saints. And as far as the Rams are concerned, Dickerson is 58 of their 62 yards on the ground. Bum Phillips from Houston to New Orleans and has done a terrific year. He said he'd be happy if the Saints were 4-2 after 6 games. The Saints, of course, have 10 playoff teams of their 16 games, but the first 3 are not. Last week, of course, the Cardinals. This week, the Rams, and next week, the Bears. Well, next Saturday, college football returns with great regional action. Most of you will see a battle of 2 highly ranked teams. The Texas Longhorns take on Pat Dye's Auburn Tigers. It all starts with the NCAA today. Check your local listings. That's next Saturday on CBS Sports. Texas is tough.
Texas has got a great defense. Auburn always seems to have good running backs. They got one down there now by the name of Lionel Little Train James.
Texas and Auburn. You couldn't ask for a better early season matchup on CBS next week. Well, the Rams should be pumped up after that touchdown, and the Saints trying to hold on to their lead, control the ball so well in that first half.
Well, Dick, it'll be very interesting to see if George Rogers gets back in the ball game and how serious that knee twist or sprain was for him. If he does come back in, you're going to see a well-rested George Rogers because he wasn't in there that long. On the other hand, on the other side, Dickerson for the Rams, although he only had 9 carries, was in the ball game all the time and covered a lot of ground out there, so he may not be as fresh. So the key running backs, Rogers may be a little bit more fresher in this heat than Dickerson.
We'll find out soon. Chuck Nelson will kick off. There's Wayne Wilson. He's got Kenny Duckett with him. Started the second half here in Anaheim. Over 100 degrees on the field. 10-7, and it's going to go back to Kenny Duckett at the goal line. Duckett runs it out to the 20. Breaks a couple of tackles and is stopped at the 25-yard line. Mike Wiltshire made the tackle. Let's update the U.S. Open Men's Singles Championship on the line today. Jimmy Connors won the first set 6-3 and leads 6-5 in the second set. So George Rogers does not come out as we start this third period. Wayne Wilson and Hokie Gaijan are the setbacks. Checking to see if we catch George on the sidelines at all, and we can't find him yet. First and 10 at the 26. Kenny Stabler at quarterback, 37-year-old veteran. And this is Wayne Wilson. Wilson with a quick acceleration goes off the left side, and Johnny Johnson, the right safety, and Carl Eckern combined to make the tackle.
Wilson is a guy that Bum Phillips has a lot of confidence in. He drafted him when he was at Houston, a number 12 draft choice, and the guy really came out of nowhere and made the team for him there. He's an all-around guy. He's good on special teams, good tough runner, and can catch the ball.
A big play man. In fact, actually made more big plays last year than George Rogers. So it's 2nd and 7 after the 3-yard pickup. Ball at the 29. Stabler looking left, looking right, and tried up the middle to Wayne Wilson, and he couldn't hold on to it. He was open. It'll be 3rd down.
Wilson will come across the middle from left to right on your screen. He went out in the flat. He was covered there and just drifted back over the middle. Stabler waited for him, threw it a little bit behind him.
At the 29, 3rd and 7 for the Saints. Kenny Duckett is a wide receiver out to the right. And Stabler's looking for him, and he's got it. Kenny Duckett, and there he goes into Ram territory, gets a couple of blocks, and Kenny Duckett is ridden out of bounds by Kurt Collins. And a penalty flag, I believe, is thrown too. Big play by Duckett, who caught a 35-yard touchdown pass from Dave Wilson last week against St. Louis.
He's their long ball threat, no question. He may be the fastest man on the Saints team.
And a personal foul against the Rams as well, so they'll chalk up some more real estate for the Saints. A 47-yard pass and run. John Robinson from USC actually was an assistant coach for John Madden's Oakland Raiders for 1 year. And they're going to bring that ball all the way down to the 12.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 42, defense, enforced from the end of the run.
Kirk Collins, who rode Duckett out of bounds.
Number 42 on the chase right here now, and we'll see it at the end of this play. Stabler, a good pass over the middle of Duckett with plenty on it.
Is that forearm?
A little extra.
Do it every time. Jeff Groth with a good block downfield. 1st and 10 at the 12. Wayne Wilson trying to pick his spots and gets inside the 10 to about the 7 or 8 yard line. So without George Rogers, the Saints have to go to other means. They hit Kenny Duckett on a 47-yarder, and it looks like Wayne Wilson will be the big man now. Johnny Johnson and Mel Owens make the tackle for the Rams. It'll be 2nd down now. They can get a 1st down without getting a touchdown.
In a position on the field now where Kenny Stabler historically likes to go to his tight end. Remember when he had Dave Casper at Oakland and also with him in Houston. He favors that down here.
Gary Jeter, number 77, is now playing nose tackle for the Rams. Former New York Giant. 2nd and 5, and movement on the right side of the line by Oubre and Brock. Let's see if they were drawn on. And they were not. That'll go against the Saints, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Ball start.
We understand that George Rogers will not be returning to the game. He has a twisted knee, suffered in the 2nd quarter. He may be heading back to the bench, so the Saints will have to go without their strong running back the rest of the way here. They lead 10-7, 2nd and 10 at the 12. Quick pass. Groth. And he caught it. Fine catch by Groth. Leroy Irvin was right on him, and there's nothing you can do about that one.
Well, how do you fit that in there like Stabler did? Whatever it takes, it seems that he gets it done. He is so successful at getting his team in the end zone once they get inside the 20.
And a good catch by Groth. That was a low throw. 3rd and 1 at the 3. You got Wayne Wilson and Hokie Guyjon. And it's Guyjon. He has the 1st down and maybe more. He does. Touchdown, New Orleans. He will refuse to be stopped. And a good block by Wayne Wilson. And Hokie Guyjon goes in for the Saints to up their lead now to 16-7.
We mentioned Guyjon, an overachiever. He's got not all the ability in the world, but he has all the desire you'd ever need. He made this pile move right here. It looks like he'll be stopped after about a 2-yard gain, but with his effort, watch his whole pile just move, and he comes out the other end of it.
Touchdown, Hokie Guyjon out of LSU, Baton Rouge. So the local boys now with the Saints. Morton Anderson with Guido Merkins holding. And Anderson's had good leg today, missed one long 47-yard field goal. What set up this 4-yard touchdown run by Guyjon was this strike to Kenny Duckett.
Also helped by a penalty by the Rams at the end of it. Good protection for Stabler. He moves around a touch and gets open where there's no one in front of him. Easiest throw a quarterback can make is over the middle. He sees that part of the field a lot better than any other. Duckett to the sideline. And there you see the penalty. Late hit and a forearm on the cornerback Kirk Collins. That set up the score by Hokie Guyjon.
There sitting down on the Saints bench is George Rogers. He won't play anymore. Twisted knee, and you can see where it is. Finishes with 42 yards. Came into the game with 100 or more yards in 12 of his 22 NFL games. The Saints going to need him, although they're doing pretty well without him right now. Morton Anderson and Barry Redden at the 4. And Redden is piled up by a host of white jerseys at the 20-yard line. The scoring drive didn't take long, 2.5 minutes. The big play, of course, was that 47-yard pass from Stabler to Duckett. And the New Orleans Saints leading now 17-7. We have 12 minutes and 21 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. In the U.S. Open, Ivan Lendl in that 2nd set are 6-6, so they're going to play the tiebreaker in the 2nd set, and a very crucial set that is. Connors winning the 1st set over Lendl 6-3, and this tiebreaker could tell a lot about what's to happen the rest of the day in the finals of the U.S. Open Men's Singles Championship.
understand it's as hot in New York as it is here, Dick. Imagine those guys if they have to go 5 sets in that heat.
And it is really hot, right on that surface. 1st and 10 at the 21. Ferragamo came back strong passing in the second quarter. Has some time. Completes his pass. No. Did Otis Grant get it? Yes, he did. He held on. That's an important play for that man, Otis Grant, a 5th-round draft choice out of Michigan State, who was a quarterback in college, moved to wide receiver. He's not polished, but they've got a lot of hopes for him.
Well, they think he's a great athlete, and he is. He was a high school quarterback. He was drafted in baseball out of high school. And they like him a lot. But I like Ferragamo on that play. Again, he took about a 3-step drop and stayed in the pocket and waited and didn't panic until someone came open.
He has matured. In fact, John Robinson likens him to Bradshaw as a late bloomer, late maturing quarterback. So it's a 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line. George Farmer goes in motion, and Eric Dickerson goes off the right side and picks up 5 yards on the play, just about to the 36-yard line. Jim Kovach, the inside linebacker, makes the play.
It's interesting, as we continue to talk about Ferragamo, he said that he thinks he throws play-action passes better than any other, and there have only been like about 1 or 2 today. He hasn't thrown much play-action. It's been mostly drop back in the pocket and wait for things.
Of course, with Dickerson, it makes the play-action that much more effective, something he didn't have in the past. Miami leading New England now 20-3. They're in the 3rd quarter at the Orange Bowl. 2nd and 6, the ball at the 30, make it 2nd and 5. At the 36, Mike Gooman goes the other way, and Dickerson cuts back inside, and Eric Dickerson is awfully close to a 1st down. As he crosses the 40, Bruce Clark, the defensive left end, and Ricky Jackson. We haven't seen too much on the blitzes today, combined to make the tackle. And let's see where they spotted. We may have a measurement.
I'm going to bring him in. You notice Mike Gooman went in motion that time and then stopped and came back actually where he started from. John Robinson did that when he was at USC, and I think basically he did it before anyone. He perhaps invented that maneuver.
Just made it by the tip of that football. And he'll take credit for inventing it too, right?
Why not?
Bruce Clark, the defensive end, who pulled a calf muscle in practice and was questionable up until game time. He led the team in sacks as a rookie. And he's the key pass rusher up front for the Saints. 1st and 10 for the Rams on their own 42-yard line. 10 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. Dickerson comes out, and Barry Redden is in the game. Rams trailing 17-7. One of these teams will be 2-0. This NFC West figures to be a battle royal down to the finish with all 4 teams involved. David Hill started in motion. Ferragamo up the middle. Hits Hill at midfield. Short of a 1st down by about 1.5 yards. Dennis Winston makes the hit. And so David Hill, who's been struggling early in the game, makes the catch right there. And, of course, Hill is somebody that John Robinson told us he likes very much. That trade, getting Hill from Detroit, he said was the most important deal he made.
Well, he uses him so much with Mike Gooman back there in the backfield. David Hill, you see number 81 with the Lions. He'll come in motion. It looks like he's going to block on the nose tackle. Instead, he just filters through. And there's your play action that we talked about right there. Hill makes the turn, and you see the completion. It's 2nd and 1.
Hill looks big, and he is. He's not quite in the playing shape. 2nd and 1 at the 49. Hill again in motion. And Dickerson finds an opening. 1st down. Head down. Make it Redden. Sorry, Barry Redden gets a 1st down to the 35-yard line. I like the way he finishes his plays, Wayne. Head down, a 14-yard pickup. Watlet and Poe make the stop on a hard-charging Barry Redden.
Barry Redden is a tough runner, but again, we've been talking about David Hill here lately. Watch the block that he gets. He's in motion. He'll turn in here on number 51. And that makes the room right here for Barry Redden. Redden, number 1 draft choice, we mentioned last year, was injured early, never did quite come around for the Rams. He's kind of a shy, withdrawn type of kid, and coming from the south and into a big city with all kinds of traffic, he said really bothered him.
Dickerson comes in for Redden. 1st and 10 on the 35. Ferragamo goes to David Hill, who has it. Hill is trying to squeeze out some more yardage. He'll be shy of a 1st down by about 1 yard. And once again, Dennis Winston makes the tackle on David Hill, who was a big play man for the Lions. Winston once again in there, a dominating player so far in preseason and off of last week's game against the Cardinals. This is his 7th year, acquired from the Pittsburgh Steelers. In that tiebreaker at the U.S. Open, it was Ivan Lendl. So now they're all even 1-1 as Lendl wins the second set 7-6 after Connors took the opening set 6-3. That's best of 5.
They're going to be out there at least for 2 more sets.
At least. 2nd and 1 at the 26, and a lot you can do here on the Saints 26. Guman goes in motion and goes back the other way. Eric Dickerson, first down, gets to the 21-yard line, and the Rams now are probably looking, penalty flag is down, but notwithstanding that penalty, they're looking probably as cohesive on offense as they had all day.
Doing it a little bit different. As you see Dennis Hara in motion, and it's against New Orleans, and it's a first down for the Rams for sure.
Personal foul.
Short passes, mixing in by the runs by Dickerson, and it's been a very well-conceived drive up to this point by the Rams.
That's what they did last week against the Giants, going to the tight end, over the middle, Dickerson, so forth. Let's pick up the personal foul from Bob McElwee.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 56, defense, after the play.
That's Dennis Winston. He has become more and more aggressive, I think, as this game, maybe the heat is doing it to him.
He's a tough one. He's the kind of guy you like to have on your team. He's been an inspiration to these guys on the New Orleans team. Came from a winning organization, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's helped the defense a lot. They hit and hustle. That's a good linebacking core the Saints have.
Jim Kovac told us yesterday, he says he has a verbal and a nonverbal communication with Winston inside. So it's 1st and 10 on the 11 now for the Rams, trailing 17-7 in the 3rd quarter. Ferragamo going to David Hill. Touchdown, Rams. And that's going to do a lot for David Hill's confidence. Had to be at a little bit of a low ebb in the first half, Wayne, but he has figured prominently in this drive.
Mark of a good player that can go in the locker room at halftime and get all those things out of his mind. A couple penalties that hurt the Rams in the first half, and then come back and start to turn in a good performance in the second half. That'll pick him up, no question at all. And Ferragamo, again, that time, he was right. He throws the ball well off play action. He had it right on the money.
So it's now 17-9, and Chuck Nelson, or make it 17-13. And the Rams trying to come within 3 now. And the kick is good. Chuck Nelson, who missed a conversion last week, made good here, and it's a 17-14 game.
You get him thinking Eric Dickerson on the run, and then you go to play action, and this is what happens. There's Hill in motion. Here's a fake right here to Dickerson. Now Frank Wadlett is on the coverage out here, and you can't be in much better shape than this. You really can't. The ball was just thrown perfectly, and it was a fine catch near the back of the end zone by Hill.
Hill figured on the receiving end in that drive, and Barry Redden picked up some good yardage. So now with 7:18 to go in the 3rd quarter, it's a 17-14 game. Saints. Crowd of about 50,000 here at Anaheim Stadium on a hot, almost sweltering Sunday afternoon in September. Rams home opener, and they've come back now with 7:18 to go to trail 17-14. David Hill caught 3 passes in that drive by the Rams. So Chuck Nelson kicking off. Kenny Duckett coming up on the run at the 19-yard line. And Duckett past the 30 is now at the 32-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10. Gordon Jones, activated this week as a wide receiver, made the tackle. And there is Gordon Jones, formerly with Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh Panther. We have another timeout on the field. Without going into the question of talent on these teams, I think John Robinson would like his club to develop what Bum Phillips has developed with the Saints.
That's consistency and hard hitting every week.
1st and 10 at the 32. Wayne Wilson and Hokie Gajan. Here's Wilson. Trapped or not? He gets back to the line of scrimmage and actually picks up a yard. Leroy Irvin forces from cornerback.
those two coaches, excuse me, Dick, those two coaches, Robinson and Bum Phillips, the thing I like about them is they coached at every level. They've been high school coaches, they've been assistants in college and the pro, head coaches, now head coaches up here. So they've won and been successful at every level. Both of them know what it takes.
2nd and 9 at the 33 now. Wide receivers, Lindsey Scott, Jeff Groth out to the right. This one to Groth, makes the catch and stopped at the 35. And Kirk Collins makes a good tackle on Groth to prevent any more yardage. It'll be 3rd and long. Collins, in his 3rd year from Baylor, had been a backup safety and special teams performer. Now, like Leroy Irvin, getting his chance to start, and he had an interception against the Giants last Sunday.
He didn't like safety, really didn't verbalize all that too much, but John Robinson asked him to come to training camp with the rookies this year, work out at cornerback, and Collins said that gave me an idea that I might have a chance to start for this team, and he put in a good camp, and he is the starter.
David Lewis, number 51, linebacker from USC, and the Tampa Bay Bucks in the game as this pass intended for Hobie Brenner is overthrown. Had to turn him around, and well covered was Brenner by Mel Owens, outside linebacker. Crowd salutes the defense.
And you haven't heard that in a while here in Anaheim. The Rams fans. Last year, the Rams defense was up 28 points a game average.
So it'll be 4th down and 7, and we're going to see Russell Erxleben booted away, and Leroy Irvin is going to go back. Erxleben.
4th and 7.
He has punted twice today and has had a very fine afternoon, as the numbers show. And Leroy Irvin is deep for the Rams. He has scored 4 touchdowns on punt returns the last 2 years. Irvin. And lets it bounce. Has to go for it. Loose ball. And the Saints recover. Big play. Jimmy Rogers has the football for the Saints deep in Ram territory.
Well, I'm not sure who was down there first. I think it might have been Rich Mouty who put the pressure on initially. He's been their great special team player for years in New Orleans. A guy that hustles every time he's in there. And he really made that play by being the first guy down there and hassling Leroy Irvin. Now watch Rich Mouty show up. Right there, number 84. He makes a little hit there, and the ball squibbles out again. He hadn't have been here. Irvin still comes up with that ball.
That's the 3rd turnover by the Rams. 2 fumbles and an interception by Johnny Poe. It's 1st and 10 for the Saints on the Ram 12. Stabler. And Kenny Duckett had beaten his man, Kirk Collins, but couldn't hold on. That was 6 points in the bag for the Saints.
And he threw a bullet, had it right on the money. That time the Rams took a chance and blitzed him, and Ken saw it right away and unloaded it to the outside. You see 58 coming in on a blitz. They blitzed up the middle. They blitzed the safety, so there's no inside help for the cornerback Collins out here.
I wonder if he got a piece of that ball.
He may have.
So it's 2nd and 10. I wonder if Stabler, as he calls an audible, will go back to Duckett. Wayne Wilson. Stop. And the crowd's into it now. Johnny Johnson and Carl Eckert make the play on Wayne Wilson, and so now it'll be 3rd down. Johnny Johnson hasn't missed a game. Has been a starter. It was an immediate starter when he joined the Rams 4 years ago.
That's just good team defense here. Everybody gets out in this one. Look at all the blue shirts out here in good shape at the point of attack. Jim Collins in on the stop. Eckern came in to clean up.
And Johnson, of course. Eric Harris is the nickel back, and Gary Jeter is in for beef up front. Pass rush, 3rd and 11. Here they come on Kenny. Stabler can't make it. He was gone for Wayne Wilson. Hobie Brenner curled around, and it was Leroy Irvin who blitzed from his right cornerback position. And once again, the Rams hold fast on a superb defensive effort when it looked like they might be in a lot of trouble.
Well, the blitz worked. The good penetration by everybody worked. If Stabler would have had perhaps just another half second to hold that ball and release it when he really wanted to, he may have had it on the money, but he had to hurry it. He had someone open. He had to hurry it right here. If he'd have been able to set and throw this ball, he may get it in there.
It is 4th down, And a 30-yard field goal attempt coming up for Morton Anderson. He is 1 for 2 today. Good on a 27-yarder, missed a 47. And this kick is true. So the fumble recovery, and the Saints had it 1st and 10 on the Ram 12, but they come out with it with 3 points on a Morton Anderson field goal, and with 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter, New Orleans 20 and LA 14. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker here at Anaheim, and we're getting a lot of offense here in the second half as New Orleans leading the Rams 20-14. Saints with Morton Anderson with 2 field goals. They've scored 2 of the last 3 times they've had the ball, and the Rams also have scored 2 of the last 3 times they've had possession. Barry Redden is deep for LA. This kick will be short. Redden at the 3. Bobbled it momentarily and got a little bit of a late start. Might have affected his return as he comes out to the 17-yard line. Guido Merkins on the tackle. So LA going on offense here. Vince Ferragamo has had a hot hand. Started getting hot passing toward the end of the first half. He hit David Hill with an 11-yard touchdown pass for the Rams score so far in the third quarter. Vince Ferragamo just handed the job by John Robinson. They're used to the quarterback controversy here dating back to the 1950s with Bob Waterfield and Norm Van Brocklin, and going up, I guess, until last year. But Robinson settled all that. Ferragamo's his man. 1st and 10 at the 17. In motion, George Farmer, and on a draw play, Eric Dickerson. And the Saints, Jim Kovach, doesn't let that get underway. Gain of about a yard, that's all. Jim Kovach, who calls the defensive signals, he said the players that Bum Phillips has brought in have chemistry and they have enthusiasm. They don't have the numbers, the stats, the timing, but they have those elements that really make clubs win in the long run.
He said Bum makes them train and work like adults, and then they get to go out and play like kids.
And they do. 2nd and 9 at the 18. David Hill in motion. Ferragamo going for Barber, and a penalty flag. Frank Watlet was defending Barber, and a late flag now, and that'll be against the Saints. Watlet, the free safety in his 3rd year, all over Mike Barber.
I saw a little stumble downfield, but I couldn't tell who was fooling with who.
Interference number 49.
But the Zebras thought it was that guy. Here's the ISO on Barber, so we'll get a good look. 49 waddle it over. Turns around to run with him. Reaches back. In pretty good shape. I don't know.
It had to be that reach back, although, you know, that's that incidental contact that people are talking about, the new rule.
You know I'm shaking my head. Defensive guys will always do that.
It's a 1st down for the Rangers on their 35 with 3:40 to go in the third quarter. That pass high for David Hill, the intended receiver. Ricky Jackson was defending on the play. Ricky Jackson, 2nd-round draft pick 2 years ago, a big play performer. Hasn't gotten the notoriety that some of the other linebackers like Lawrence Taylor have gotten. This was the same class. He's explosive, has the big burst, and he and Bruce Clark have worked very well together on the left side. Updating some scores now. Or soon. 2nd and 10 at the 35. Frank Warren, number 73, replaces Jim Wilkes. In motion is George Farmer and Eric Dickerson off the right side. So the last 2 times he's carried the ball, Eric Dickerson hasn't gained much. Dave Waymer, coming up from left corner, makes the tackle on Eric Dickerson. Now the scores. The Raiders 13, the Houston Oilers 6 there in the third quarter at the LA Coliseum north of here, and the Miami Dolphins ahead of the New England Patriots 27-10. They're in the fourth quarter at the Orange Bowl.
You know, Dickerson split time at SMU. Didn't play all the time, you know, alternated every series, but he's really proved that he can play down after down these first 2 games.
Barry Redden replaces him right now, 3rd and 7 at the 38-yard line. Under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Saints were showing blitz, and everyone's pointing at everyone else down there. They say the Rams, the Saints do.
Ball start, offense.
It's against the offense. Maybe Jackie Slater, the right tackle.
2 inside linebackers were up there juking, faking the blitz. Offensive linemen got to watch the ball even if they've forgotten the snap count.
Start, number 78, offense, 3rd down.
It is Slater, and it's 3rd down now. You know, you're talking about Dickerson carrying the ball. Someone asked him, you'll see him move on the right side there. They had a nickname contest for Eric Dickerson here, one of the newspapers, and finally someone says, well, what are you going to call Dickerson? And John Robinson said, often. 3rd and 12 at the 33. Movement by the Rams, one of their outside receivers, as the pass intended for Barry Redden is high and tipped incomplete. A Ram wide receiver moved just before the snap. So penalties are helping to stall this LA drive.
I think it may be called on Otis Grant, 82.
Illegal motion, number 30, offense. Penalty decline.
Redden was in the
4th
slot.
down.
Actually, maybe it was Grant and Redden. They caught one. That's all you need.
82 and 30. What I miss it by? 52.
You'll make it up.
Miss him big.
You'll make them up before the end of the year. John Misko, who had a 12-yard punt today, which has affected his average, and Jeff Groth. Groth is at the 25-yard line. We have 2:46 showing on the clock here in the third quarter of a hot, sweltering afternoon in Southern California. The Saints 7:20 and the Rams 14. Misko gets off a fine kick this time around. Inside the 20. And Groth hemmed in. Penalty flag down as Groth is tackled at the 25-yard line by Vince Newsom. A 49-yard boomer by John Misko. Let's see what the call is. Rams were 2-7 last year. They'll call it against New Orleans, so that'll set the Saints back. Good coverage by LA on the punt.
Yeah, it was a good punt. Good hang time. Got it extremely deep.
Well, Bum Phillips will see his team have to right now get back to the 11.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 28 on the return. 1st down.
That's Bill Hurley, the nickel back. So Saints will want to talk this over. We have a timeout. When we come back with 2:35 to go in the third quarter, the Saints will have it 1st down on their own 11. 20-14. New Orleans leading Los Angeles. We're in the third quarter with 2:35 to go. And Kenny Stabler has his work cut out now. He's 11 of 22 for 144 yards. In motion is Lindsey Scott. And Wayne Wilson piled up at the 10. Carl Eckern, hasn't he been in on all the crunching plays inside all day today?
He made some big hits, and it almost seemed like he had to be on a blitz that time because he was back there so quickly. You saw the Rams' scheme of things on defense change in the last New Orleans possession as they started to blitz a lot. And with Rodgers out of the game now, that might be their theory. They don't have to worry so much about the run that they can go ahead and put some pressure on and take some chances and hopefully come up with a big play and turn the ball over.
2nd and 11. Ball at the 10 after the loss. Wide receivers go way out. 2 tight ends in there. And there's Wayne Wilson. And the Rams let Wilson get away. And he gets a 1st down up to the 28-yard line, where Kirk Collins and Johnny Johnson make the stop, and a key 18-yard pickup.
This is a linebacker error right here. Watch number 58 come. He gets knocked out. The inside linebackers overrun the ball. Eckern, you saw, buried up the middle. You've got to maintain your leverage on your pursuit when you're a linebacker. Stay a yard behind the ball, so when he cuts back, he'll cut right back into you. It's hard to do because you want to hustle over there and get right at the hole, right at the point of attack, but you got to discipline yourself to stay a little bit behind him for those cutbacks.
Tim Wilson now is the up back in the I formation with Jimmy Rogers, who carries the ball, gets by one, fumbles, and the Rams, I think, have recovered. They have. picked up the loose ball for the Rams, Jack Youngblood.
Came a long way across on pursuit. But the guy who made the play that got the initial penetration that caused the problem back there was the outside linebacker, number 52, George Andrews. Had a good game last week against the Giants. Watch him here, 52. He's back there. He makes that initial hit. That fouled up the play. You see the fumble, and Youngblood was over. Watch it again now. The toss and the hit back there by Andrews. Although he didn't make the tackle and make the stop, he had to play messed up from the start. They were blitzing again.
And the first turnover of the game for the Rams. And this is the first time they've started beyond their own 33-yard line. They're on the Saints 23. Guman in motion. 1st and 10. Eric Dickerson gets inside the 20. Loses the ball. We have a fumble. And it's picked up by Jackie Slater, and a first down Rams. The whistle never blew, and Slater was alert. It's as simple as that. Jackie Slater knew what he was doing, and it's a first down for the Rams at the 5.
Kind of a bizarre play right here now. The pitch to Dickerson, supposed to go out wide. Watch him cut it back. Now Kovac stays in good shape. Look at 52. He's waiting for the cutback. Looks like he has the stop made. Everybody goes down. 57, Ricky Jackson came away with it. He was stripped of the ball. Slater picks it up, and he only knows one way to go.
I remember when someone ran the other way once.
Yeah, but he was a defensive player.
Marshall, is it?
Yep.
1st and goal at the 5, and Jackie Slater alert. And the Rams are in a solid position here with 43 seconds to go. Barry Redden is the running back, and Guman is in motion. And here's Redden. Redden gets to the 1-yard line. Straight ahead barrel by Barry Redden. 2 years ago, only Herschel Walker, Marcus Allen gained more yards in college than Barry Redden of Virginia. Dennis Winston and Bobby Johnson, who's the brother of Johnny Johnson of the Rams, makes the tackle. 2nd and goal at the 1. There's Dirt.
Nose of the ball is right on the 1-yard line. So it's a long yard for the Rams.
The Rams have not led in this game, and they will not get another playoff here in the 3rd quarter. At one point, they were trailing 10-0. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The New Orleans Saints 20, the LA Rams 14. And we now pause for a word from your local station. 52,000 tickets were sold in a stadium that seats 69,000, and the in-house attendance 45,572 for the Rams home opener. And they're been vociferous here as the Rams have come on with some big defensive plays, moving the ball well, have a 2nd and goal at the 1 here as we start the 4th quarter. Dick Stockton with Wayne Walker.
I think the thing that's impressed me, both teams so far, this kind of game and this kind of heat, there hasn't been a fall off at all by either team. They're both well conditioned.
Dickerson and Redden together for the first time in the game in the backfield. In motion is Guman, and it's Eric Dickerson. Hit once, and he's in for the touchdown. Saints don't agree with the count.
Number 78, you see there, Jackie Slater. He led the charge. They ran it over the right side behind Dennis Hara and Slater, with Guman the lead blocker, and it's just a good effort by the rookie that gets himself in the end zone.
The drive started when Jack Youngblood recovered Jimmy Rogers' fumble at the Saints 23. Then there was that wild play. On the fumble that Ricky Jackson had picked up and he lost, and Jackie Slater took it down to the 5. And now Nolan Cromwell holds for Chuck Nelson. And the kick is good, and the Rams lead for the first time in the game. Nelson's point after breaks the tie, and it's 21-20 in favor of the LA Rams. And the wild play and the alert finish by Jackie Slater set this one up.
Guy that's going to kick himself on this one is Ricky Jackson, who at one time had pretty good control of the ball. Dickerson here makes a cut back. Kovach there to stop. The ball is out before he hits the ground. Number 57 comes up with it. Now he's stripped again, and Slater has it. Dick, I didn't see who stripped the ball away from Ricky Jackson, but that was a big play also by one of those Los Angeles Rams offensive linemen that allowed Slater to get the football. 21-20 Rams.
And it's Maudie, the veteran from Penn State, at the 5. He's at the 20 and moves up to the 23-yard line. Mike Wilcher, rookie, makes the tackle. Next Sunday on the NFL Today, Irv Cross will take a look at a new no-nonsense Cowboys. After losing the last 3 NFC Championship game, Coach Tom Landry is taking a tougher approach, and also a story of this man, Rams rookie Eric Dickerson, who is drawing rave reviews, 96 yards rushing, and he's caught 3 passes for 39 yards.
48 carries in less than 2 games now.
Next Sunday on the NFL Today, Wayne Wilson is the setback. Kenny Stabler with his team trailing, going deep now, and it's tipped away beautifully by Leroy Irvin on a pass intended for Jeff Groth. Fine play by Irvin.
Can't play it any better than number 47 Leroy Irvin did that time. Now keep in mind the Rams are playing without the 2 cornerbacks that have started for them for several years around here. Pat Thomas and Rod Perry. Kurt Collins now on the left and Leroy Irvin on the right. Now this is step for step, makes a move, gets a hand on the ball, avoids contact. Picture perfect.
He was a nickel back for the first 3 years of his career. Got a start, intercepted 2 last week. He's played solid today. 2nd and 10 at the 23 for Stabler. Look one way, and he's tipped at the line. Jimmy Collins, blitzing, might have gotten a piece of that pass intended for Wayne Wilson.
You call it. They're blitzing almost every down now. The Rams are on Stabler. They know he's not too mobile back there. They know they don't have George Rogers in there. So, you know, they can disregard the run a touch. You know, they kind of figure that New Orleans doesn't have a guy back there that's just going to kill him running the ball and perhaps break 160, 70 yards. So they're taking some chances by blitzing some linebackers.
George Rogers gained 42 yards in the first half. He's been out with a twisted knee. Nickel backs now. Eric Harris is the 5th back. Stabler going to the air. Lindsey Scott makes a fine catch and has a first down for the Saints at the 38-yard line. So Lindsey Scott hit by Johnny Johnson and Eric Harris, and a first down for the Saints.
Scott, number 80, of course, was a teammate of Herschel Walker at Georgia, and a big play guy for the Bulldogs. They felt that up here all he needs is a little confidence. He's got great ability. He stayed right with the ball and caught it in traffic.
That's a 15-yard pickup, but there's an injured Ram on the field. It's Johnny Johnson, the right safety. He is shaken up, and so we're going to take a timeout now. We have plenty of time to go. 14-21 here in this 4th quarter with the Rams leading the Saints in an exciting game, 21-20. It's a guy that started every game since joining the Rams. He's very durable, Johnny Johnson, but he really took a hit on this play.
There it is. Looks like he got a shoulder or a helmet in the chest. As you mentioned, durable, 42 starts in a row ever since he was drafted number 1 out of Texas.
Texas and Auburn next week on CBS, the NCAA opening of our college football season. Vince Newsom, 4th-round draft pick, is a nickel back, number 22, replaces Johnny Johnson at right safety now. Kenny Stabler. He has Hobie Brenner, and the tight end gets up to midfield and has another first down for the Saints. Kirk Collins, the left cornerback, makes the tackle. John Robinson's familiar with Hobie Brenner because he played for him at USC. This is his 3rd year, and he's become another favorite receiver of Kenny Stabler.
Likes him in a medium range situation, and perhaps that's what we'll see from Stabler on this drive because of the Los Angeles blitz. He's going to call some shorter patterns here. And he might try to pop a draw up there, too, if they keep blitzing and bust one into the secondary.
1st and 10, just short of midfield. Larry Hardy comes in as a 2nd tight end with Brenner, and this pass is right on the money. And we're looking now at Eugene Goodlow A fellow who Bum Phillips told us yesterday, Wayne, that he will be the best receiver on this club. He caught 100 passes in Canadian football. 3 years, was one of the leaders there, and he's polished already, but he hasn't going to have a tough time breaking into this group. 23-yard pickup.
Lachie Millard, as you mentioned, he's listed as a rookie, but he played 3 years in Canada.
Went to Kansas State. He left after his sophomore year. He wasn't eligible to get into the NFL till this year. So it's 1st and 10 now. Saints moving. They're on the Ram 27. 21-20 Rams lead. There's that draw play. Wayne Wilson. Outside move to the 20. Wilson. And Wilson, if he had continued outside, might have gotten more yardage. Kirk Collins, the tackle. Well, it didn't happen back there, but it happened up here. The draw to Wayne.
See it right here now. He made a pretty good move on the draw because he bounced it way outside. Stabler on the handoff, designed to go up the middle, and he just reads daylight. Makes a good move to get outside of number 21, Nolan Cromwell.
He had to make a decision at the end of that play. If the block had gone through, whether to go inside, he might have scored. He just made the wrong decision, but he picked up the first down on the 15. Wayne Wilson, play action now, and the pass wide open, touchdown. There is that man, Eugene Goodlow. And the Saints come right back to take the lead. Remember last year we were in Dallas for a Saints-Cowboys game and talking about receivers next year. He said, watch for this man.
But watch this throw-off play action. How fast he turns over here. He looked left, came back right, immediately unloaded because he had it so wide open and really had a lot on the football. Stabler made a great throw.
First NFL touchdown reception for Eugene Goodlow. Guido Merkins holds for Morton Anderson, and the kick is good. And so now we have 12:35. This game is really turning into a high-scoring affair. Eugene Goodlow.
A post pattern right here. Takes it down about 10, 12 yards, breaks it into the post. 42 is Kirk Collins. Playing a zone. Cromwell will come over right there, but he's too shallow.
Third-round draft choice last year. Eugene Goodlow with Kenny Stabler, the grizzled veteran, and the Saints regain the lead 27-21. Saints in front again, 27-21, and Morton Anderson will be kicking off. 12:35 remaining in the fourth period. It was 10-7 at the half in favor of the Saints. Barry Redden is deep for Los Angeles. And Redden, 2 yards in, will keep it right there. And Alexander will make sure of that. And so Rams will take it out on the 21st and 10. Each team now has scored every time but once since the second half. So it's been an offensive affair in the second half. The Raiders over the Houston Oilers 20-6 there in the fourth quarter at the Coliseum. Seattle still leading the New York Jets 10-3 there in the fourth quarter of their game at Shea Stadium in New York. Denver-Baltimore, low-scoring affair. Just a pair of field goals in that one.
That grudge match, at least on one side.
Miami over New England, 34-17 fourth quarter. And that'll just about do it. I wonder what Irsay told his team before the Elway game today. Whatever it is help the defense. First and 10 at the 20 now. Ferragamo loops it out to Eric Dickerson. Loses the ball, and it's still Ram ball. The Saints did not have possession. And so the Rams will still hold it, and they're awfully close to a first down also as a result of that. Whitney Paul made the hit.
Whitney Paul, 51, great speed, good range, comes across, hard forearm across the arms of Dickerson, knocks the ball out of there. But to no avail as the Rams picked up a few extra as it rolled out of bounds.
You got to have possession on a fumble recovery. Dennis Winston was grappling for it. So it's first. It is 2nd and 3 now at the 27 for the Rams. Plenty of time to go here. George Farmer in motion for LA, and the pitch goes to Eric Dickerson, and a fine play coming up from secondary by Dave Waymer as he anticipated the Dickerson move, and the fourth-year cornerback and the oldest defensive back for the Saints made the play on Eric. Maybe an injured Saint down there, and then Mike Barber is down for the Rams. We may have Waymer for the Saints. No, that's not Waymer. Derlin Moore. Moore is down for the Saints. Mike Barber for the Rams. And we'll take a break. It's hot down there. We'll be back. Mike Barber, who has caught 2 passes for 35 yards. Shaken up on the sideline for the Rams. Derlin Moore, replaced by Tony Elliott at nose tackle number 99. There's Moore. Coming off his best year last season. Ferragamo 1st and 10 on his own 31. Wide open David Hill. To the 35 of the Saints. Wide open, Johnny Poe makes the tackle. And a 34-yard pickup.
Ferragamo loves that play. He went to Barber a couple times for the last week against the Giants and got a touchdown. This time to David Hill with Barber out of the game. It looks like it's just a blown coverage here by the Saints. Can't tell. No linebacker around to cover. They may have doubled the outside receivers and turned him over to a linebacker, and the linebacker just got lost. Normally that's what happens when there's that kind of seam up the middle and the tight end makes the catch.
4 catches, 62 yards, and 1 touchdown for David Hill. He's having a superb second half here. 1st and 10 now at the 35 of the Saints. Robert Alexander is in at running back, and here is Alexander with the ball. Alexander, tough to bring him down to the 25-yard line. And it may be another first down for the Rams. Tony Elliott and Dennis Winston make the tackle. What did John Robinson tell us late in the game when everyone is hot? Robert Alexander, elusive guy, may be in there right now for a U.S. Open update. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Dickie Von Lindell had been serving for the 3rd set. Jimmy Connors then held him off. Then it was advantage Connors. And this is what happened. Jimmy was all over the court. And now it's at 5-5. Back to Dick Stockton.
All right, Brent. Connors and Lendl. Alexander is the setback, and Gooman in motion. Play action. Ferragamo, he's got a lot of time. No more. And Jim Wilkes coming in from right defensive end, got to Ferragamo, and there was good coverage downfield by the Saints.
They're going to call it a sack. They're going to say that he was in the grasp of Jim Wilkes, the right defensive end. So credit him with a sack, and the ball will go back behind the line of scrimmage. Interesting story about Wilkes. He was discovered by the New Orleans Saints scouts when they were looking at films of a quarterback. Can't remember quite who the quarterback was, but they noticed some guy sacking him all the time. They found out who it was. It was Jim Wilkes. They took a chance. He was playing for San Diego State, drafted him on the 12th round, and he's in there now for New Orleans.
Native of Los Angeles, out of San Diego State, was a 12th round draft pick, and they found a gem in Jim Wilkes. So it's 2nd and 21 at the 36. Pressure again. Ferragamo just gets rid of it, and it's picked off by Whitney Paul. Whitney Paul with a one-handed interception, it appeared. We may have we do have a penalty marker down at midfield. And it's against the Rams. It'll be declined by the Saints, who will have it 1st and 10. Whitney Paul, one of the best defenders against the nickel defense.
Well, I'll tell you, just don't make plays like that unless you have great athletic ability. Number 51, Whitney Paul, certainly does. He used to be a starter at Kansas City. He's got great speed. Kansas City switched him from defensive end to linebacker. This guy is high jump, 6'10". He did it at Colorado. But he proved right there he'd get up in the air. He also proved he had pretty good hands. That's a big play.
4th turnover by the Rams. 2nd interception. Johnny Poe had one earlier. 1st and 10 now at the 19 for the Saints. 9:24. Wayne Wilson to the 21-yard line. Picks up a couple. 27-21. The Saints lead the Rams. The Rams took the lead for the first time on an Eric Dickerson touchdown, the first play of the 4th quarter. But then Stabler hit Eugene Goodlow with a touchdown strike to put the Saints ahead once more.
You have 1 or 2 a half, Dick, and this is another one of those crucial sequences right here. New Orleans wants to use up a lot of time, get the ball down, and at least get 3 points and take some time off the clock. The Rams, their defense, 3 and out. They want to get it back to their offense. Whoever controls this offensive sequence more than likely will win the ball game.
2nd and 8. Wayne Wilson. Reggie Doss missed him. And then the Rams with Mel Owens got him. It'll be 3rd and long yardage now for the Saints. The clock continues to run. Less than 8.5 minutes to play. 4th quarter. Seattle now leading the New York Jets 17-3. Chuck Knox looking for his first victory as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. They're in the 4th quarter. Seattle has never lost to the Jets in 6 tries. Could be 7-0. Miami, as the scoring picks up, leading 34-24 over New England there in the 4th quarter in the Orange Bowl. It's 3rd and 6 at the 23 for the Saints, and a big down for the Rams here. Rams defense. Stabler fires, caught, and a first down to Hobie Brenner, the tight end, at the 32-yard line. A big 3rd down play by the Snake.
Well, you're not kidding. You called it right on the money. You just don't get rid of the ball like this. He is just sensational. He's been one of the special quarterbacks in the league for a long time. Career leader in passing percentage right here. Look at this. When he spots it, it's gone. Quick release, right on the money. First down on perhaps the biggest down of the ball game so far.
And with all of the great prospects of Dave Wilson, the young quarterback, now you know why Bum Phillips wanted Kenny Stabler, if he could in any way play this game. Hokie Gajan is the lone running back. Gajan pulls up the middle and picks up at least 5-6 yards on the carry. Clock continues to run. 7 minutes to go. 4th quarter. Carl Eckern makes the tackle for the Rams. Saints hanging in there without George Rogers. Went out with a twisted knee. Didn't play most of the 2nd quarter and has been sitting on the bench. There he is in the 2nd half.
Rams might have to take a chance here now, the next couple downs, and send in a couple blitzers.
2nd and 5 at the 37. Gajan has gained 20 yards and 6 carries. Gets the call again. Fights his way to the 40. Shy of a first down by 2 yards, and a penalty flag is down. And it's against the Saints. Jimmy Collins, linebacker, made the tackle. 6:25, the clock stops. 27-21, the Saints lead the Rams. Next week, the Saints will play host to the Chicago Bears. Bum Phillips team, and
Holding,
the Rams.
Number 66, offense, 2nd down.
Louis Oubre, a right guard, holding. 2nd and 15 now at the 27. The Rams will go against the Green Bay Packers next week.
Just to the right side of Stabler, number 66. Has a death clutch on him.
And Youngblood. Rams faking blitz, and they were blitzing on the play. Fortunately, Hokie Gajan couldn't get away inside and picked up maybe a yard, and that's all. Andrews was coming from the outside. We want to apologize for some technical difficulties. We momentarily lost our picture. And third and 14 on the 28. Kenny Duckett, Lindsey Scott, Eugene Goodlow. Goodlow is alone to the right. And they go inside to Gajan. Stopped by the Rams, short of the 30-yard line. It'll be 4th down. George Andrews, who had a fine year last season. Former first-round draft pick in his 5th season. Big play for George.
Pretty good job by the Rams defense here, too, because they had to be thinking pass, and they reacted extremely well and came back up and played the run. If you're watching your keys, you won't get fooled. You see the guards pull. You got to figure it's a run. Andrews did, and he was right in there.
He's really become a top-notch player. Outside linebacker George Andrews. And it's 4th down. Russell Erxleben will punt. His 4th of the game. Leroy Irvin is deep for the Rams. Irvin at the 35. And a great hold by John Tice, the rookie tight end from Maryland, prevented Irvin from really getting underway. A 35-yard punt. He returns it only 8 yards. But the Rams will take over at the 44-yard line, 1st and 10. The clock, 4:47, now starts to become a factor here. Each team has the full complement of timeouts, the remainder, and Ferragamo will start from the 44. Want to remind you, next week, the NFL Today starts it off at 12:30 Eastern. The early game will either be, you'll see Chicago at New Orleans or the LA Rams against the Green Bay Packers. That game will be played in Milwaukee. And the second game will feature the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, both victorious today. The Giants beat the Atlanta Falcons in overtime, and the Cowboys beat the Cardinals. 4:47 on the clock. They're on the 43. Ferragamo, 15 for 25. Now 15 for 26. That pass is complete to Mike Guman. They didn't gain too much, maybe 5 yards on the play. And Whitney Paul makes the tackle. Right now for a U.S. Open update. Connors against Lendl. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, it is set and break point here for Jimmy Connors. Lendl had been serving for the third set. He had a double set point. Connors battled back, and then this air. And now Jimmy Connors leads 2-1. Let's go back to Dick Stockton.
All right, so Jimmy Connors 1 set away from capturing the U.S. Open. Back-to-back opens for Jimmy. Defending champion right here at 2nd and 6 at the 48 for Vince Ferragamo. Short drop. He's going deep for George Farmer. And it's incomplete. Dave Waymer all the way with Farmer as that pass kind of hung up there on the right sideline.
But Farmer was never open as 44 Dave Waymer, the left cornerback for New Orleans, had him step for step in good position. He's on the inside. He's doing an important thing here. He's got his head nice turned back, tracking the football. A lot of times the defensive backs will keep their eyes on the man, and if the ball's underthrown a little bit, the wide receiver will stop and make the catch, and they keep on running. It was great effort there by Waymer.
It's a young defensive secondary, and he's in his 4th year, Waymer, and the oldest. And there's Ferragamo, goes back to work at 3rd and 6 at the 48. 4.5 minutes remaining in this 4th period. Barry Redden is the setback. Ferragamo. But first down, and that was Otis Grant. And a penalty flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. Otis Grant. And let's see if we have a holding call against the Rams, and we do. Maybe the left tackle. That nullifies a big play for the Rams.
That was an extremely strong throw by Ferragamo there also.
Reggie Lewis was coming on in for the Saints.
Holding, number 62, offense, 3rd down.
Bill Bain, the left tackle. Holding.
Bain is number 62. And he's over on the right side of your screen, right on the corner. From that angle, it apparently looked like he ran his man around Ferragamo. But the officials saw something different.
Penalties virtually even. That was Reggie Lewis. Good pass rusher. So now it's 3rd and 16. And the pass thrown and dropped by Gordon Jones. How tough is it for a receiver like Gordon Jones, who just joined the club in the middle of this week, to really get into the flow, although he was really wide open there.
Well, that's extremely tough, no question about it. I was just going to say, had he held onto that ball right there, there was one man out there, and that was Waymer, 44, and Barry Redden was already on his way to block him. That could have been 6 points for the Rams if he'd have held on.
It's 4th down, and John Misko will come in and punt. Clock, 4:17 remaining. Jeff Groth, the only one back for the Saints. Misko has averaged 34.5 yards. This is his 5th attempt of the game. High kick, good kick, and it's inside the 10, the 5, and stop there. What a play by Jeff Simmons.
Simmons, a basketball player, isn't he?
Rookie from USC and the all-time leading receiver.
No, that's right. He's not the basketball. He's the guy that played for Robinson at USC and is the career leader in receptions for SC. Robinson knows him well. I wonder if you ever saw him do this at USC. That was a great play here on a special team. Number 89 go after it after being blocked. Watch this effort to dive and a little kick back there. And the Saints are in a hole.
He must have heard the USC marching band at halftime today and thought he was still wearing the Cardinal and gold. Great play by Jeff Simmons and a 60-yard punt, including the roll by John Misko. So the Saints, with 4:05 remaining and leading 27-21 over the Rams, have 1st and 10 on their own 2. Stabler's been there, though. Wayne Wilson and Tim Wilson are the running backs. It's Wayne Wilson, and he drives it out to the 6. Wayne Wilson with a block up front by Tim Wilson. They're just trying to churn it out and get up to the 12, which would give them a 1st down. Reggie Doss and Myron Lapka, former USC player, free agent picked up from the Giants, combined to make the play. And we have an injured Ram on the field as Gary Jeter comes into the ball game. Lapka. Myron Lapka, 4th year. He's been injured 2 of those 4 years, and he's going down again right here.
You know, Dick, this is the time of the ball game, unquestionably, and especially on a day like this. We've talked about the heat where everybody out there on the field right now, the 22 players, are all reaching down and coming up with a little something extra. Because on a day like today, you take the big guys in the offensive line and the guys on defense like Jeter, the big guys that have been in there a lot, they'll lose as much as 12 to 16 pounds on a day like today.
Jeter coming into the game, but I think it only points up, as we said at the outset, what was so important about this game. Both clubs trying to gain credibility, the work ethic that John Robinson talked about. His team played hard, hustled hard. He says, I want people, when they play the Rams, to know they're in a tough game, but we've got to do it 2 games in a row. And they did it last week against the Giants, and they're kind of doing it now in the second half, and a more offensive game than they played last week.
Well, I think they've definitely done it both ways. You know, that both those coaches will tell you that, you know, we know we're not going to play good every week. We just want to play tough every week.
Let's go over some of the scores of today's game. Overtime, Giants over Atlanta. Washington, 1-1, coming back from that Dallas setback. Dallas makes it 2 in a row. Chicago wins its first game. Tampa Bay now 0-2. Cleveland over Detroit. The Lions 1-1 now. Pittsburgh and Green Bay, they're all even. That was a good game. Buffalo over Cincinnati, 10-6. In the AFC, 4th quarter, the Raiders 20, the Houston Oilers 6. And a final, the Miami Dolphins win their 2nd in a row, beating New England 34-24, and Seattle leads the Jets 17-10 in the 4th quarter. Meanwhile, the Saints have a 2nd and 6 on the 6. Wayne Wilson gets it out to the 10-yard line. Wilson has gained 56 yards today and really has done the bulk of the ball carrying with George Rogers on the bench. Mel Owens, the linebacker, makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and short yardage. Well, it's maybe 3rd and 4.
3rd and 4 turns into definitely long yardage in this situation for New Orleans. I don't think it's quite 4. I think it's a little bit shorter net. It's probably about 2.5, 3 yards, Dick, but it's still in that area where the defense doesn't ever sure what Stabler's going to do. He can run or throw it here, but it looks like they're cramped in there pretty close for a run.
If they had a George Rogers, they know what to do. Here's Wayne Wilson, head down, and he won't make it. Johnny Johnson and a couple of his friends. Jimmy Collins, Reggie Doss, Johnny Johnson will force the Saints to punt from their end zone.
Well, when I said that they were cramped in there, that meant that the offensive linemen are in there tight. And when they have those kinds of splits, they're in there for a short yardage run. And you've been around the league long enough, you kind of know this. A good effort by the Rams. Johnson came up right there. And Collins was in, number 50, to help secure. Good effort at the point of attack by the Rams.
So it's 4th down now, and Johnson, an aggressive ball game with this Iron Man of a defensive back, and Russell Erxleben will punt, and Leroy Irvin will go back. Erxleben has punted 4 times for nearly a 45-yard average. Leroy Irvin is back. And the Rams are looking for good field position. He's just about at midfield.
they'll be doing everything they can to hold up the Saints at the line of scrimmage and give him some room.
And Erxleben is going to take the safety. Erxleben will take the safety. A very smart move to make it 27-23. And now a free kick situation, and the Rams will have to go basically 70, 80 yards for a touchdown, which they need to win, instead of the 50 yards, which they needed to win.
If they don't make a great return, that's what they'll have to do.
That's right.
And the reason that Bum Phillips did that now is that Erxleben will be able to go free kick from the 20-yard line with nobody rushing. No chance of anybody to block it. So we gave up the 2 because theoretically, if the Rams go down and get a field goal, it's not going to hurt New Orleans that much. They still need to put a big score up on the board.
And with 2:03 showing on the clock, they need a touchdown. A field goal won't be good enough, and so might as well play the percentages here. John Robinson coming back home. He left the head coaching job at USC to be an administrator.
Dick, how many times have you seen that? Now, you don't see that much in the pros. You see it some in the college, but in the 15 years I've played and in the 6 years I worked for CBS, that's the first time I've ever been in a ball game that's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw Don Shula do it on a Monday night game with the Miami Dolphins against Chuck Noll and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know, I saw that game also, but I'm talking 1 year in person at the ball game, first time.
Timeouts remaining, and Erxleben can kick it away. Leroy Irvin is back at the 25. 2:03 remaining. And there it is. High kick. And Irvin is at the 19-yard line. Leroy Irvin gets to the 35. Irvin is hit and stopped short of the 40. That's not bad for the Rams. Bobby Johnson makes the tackle. And now with 1:51 to go, we'll have our 2-minute warning right now. So that wasn't so bad. The Rams are not in bad field position. They have 3 timeouts remaining, but they've got to score a touchdown to beat the Saints. If the Saints hold them, New Orleans will be 2-0. (27-23). Saints lead the Rams. 1:51 to go, and the Rams have it 1st and 10 at the 40 with the full complement of timeouts. And it really comes down to this drive.
This is what it comes down to, no question about it. The Rams have to keep control of it, take it in the end zone, and get 6 points. And nothing else will help them.
Of course, if they do get a touchdown, if you really want to play games and speculate and make the extra point, they'd have a 3-point lead, and a field goal would only tie the Saints. That's what happens as a result of that safety.
We look at Ferragamo, Dick. It was interesting talking to him the other day that he felt that experience was really a bad one for him. It seemed at the time up in Canada helped him a lot. He said he matured a lot up there, and he said he really didn't play that bad up there. He completed 52% of his passes, but he learned how to maintain his composure when everyone disliked him. He said it's going to help him in the long run.
He threw 25 interceptions, but he said that club turned it over a lot. 1st and 10 at the 40. In motion is Guman. Ferragamo going to the air on 1st down. Short. He was going for Otis Grant, the rookie wide receiver, but that pass came way short to him.
Yeah, he didn't have anything there, and I think that Ferragamo just kind of basically threw that one away.
2nd down, Vince Ferragamo, whose philosophy he said he learned from Ray Malavasi to exploit the weakness of the other ball club.
Keep in mind now that New Orleans will be in their nickel defense. They'll have 4 down linemen rushing the quarterback, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. They can basically double the outside receivers if they want.
Hurley is the nickel back. 2nd and 10. 27-23. The Saints lead the Rams. Ferragamo again to the air. This time Grant has it. And here comes Otis Grant. He's at the 20. Ratliff, the only man back. Now he's at the 5, inside of the 3. I don't blame him. He just made a whale of a play. The rookie from Michigan State, 56 yards. Bill Hurley got back in time to make the stop before a touchdown. It's 1st and goal inside the 5.
This was a great throw, but if you recall what I told you before about defensive backs not looking back. That happened there. Rodney Lewis did not have his head and eyes back towards the pass. Had he may have been able to intercept or get a hand on that ball. Because it was, Grant came up with it, made a good run, and took it down inside the 5.
You know, they say that Otis Grant reminds a lot of people like James Lofton. He sure did on that one.
Well, they love his athletic ability, no question about it. Just a rookie. Responded today. We've got an injured player down on the field right now, so we're going to have a timeout.
56-yard pass play. Ferragamo, who tried to go to Grant on I think the same pattern. It was short. Hit Otis Grant, the rookie. And now it is 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. And the Saints, Rodney Lewis is the injured player. Rodney Lewis, the right cornerback, who had to start with Johnny Poe moving over to Russell Gary's strong safety position. Timeout by the Saints. They have 2 remaining, but let's see that play again. Could mean the game for the Rams.
Now you'll see Rodney Lewis, number 29, the defensive back, and Otis Grant, 82, come in your picture late. Right here, if Lewis is looking back, and he's not, as you can see, he may have been able to get a hand up on that ball. And it looked like Lewis collided with his own man, Johnny Poe. That's what put him down. But the main thing is right there. Rams with the ball inside the 5.
And a timeout by the Saints. They have 2 left. And this is important. Now, you know, the one negative is the Saints are going to have enough time to get back now and get a field goal to send it into overtime or a touchdown to win it.
That's negative for the Rams.
Right.
That's not negative for the Saints.
No. But that's the downside for the Rams with the big strike. But, of course, they're just thinking about getting in the lead here. 1st and goal at the 3. Gooman in motion. Here's Dickerson. Eric Dickerson. Touchdown. Third touchdown for Dickerson. And the Rams regain the lead 29-27. I think David Hill had a key block.
David Hill did. Bill Bain, the tackle over there. Kent Hill, the guard. And Gooman, who is the H-back, that man in motion. All got a piece of somebody. You see Bain came down. He blocked Dennis Winston, the inside linebacker.
And this is an important conversion coming up right now for Chuck Nelson, with the Rams leading 29-27. Nelson needs to make this for the Rams. Otherwise, the Saints could win it with a field goal. The kick is good. 60 yards in 3 plays, and the big one was the 56-yard pass play. Ferragamo to rookie Otis Grant, but that man, Eric Dickerson, who will be featured in the NFL today, next Sunday, with his 3rd touchdown of the game. A fantastic game. And so now the Saints have enough time, 1:22. They have 2 timeouts. They need a field goal to tie the game, and a touchdown would, of course, win it.
And they also have a guy whose number is 16 who has taken so many teams down in the last 2 minutes and pulled games out. He's been there before, and so is the coach.
We have had a bushel of points here in the second half. It was 10-7 in favor of the Saints at halftime, and now it is 30-27. Rams lead. Ferragamo has thrown touchdown passes to David Hill. He has set up other plays. Dickerson has scored twice in the second half, once in the first half. John Robinson. He is calm. Well, maybe not so much inside.
I think I'm curious now as to what kind of defensive philosophy, in theory, the Rams will use on this possession for the Saints. They did extremely well at times by blitzing Stabler when they weren't concerned with the run. They got to know now that he's going to be throwing the ball most of the time. So let's see if they put the pressure on him again by blitzing the linebackers and perhaps a safety or 2.
Chuck Nelson will kick off. Rich Mounty Kenny Duckett and Monty at the 3. Monty has some blockers. Here's Rich Monty, runs it out to the 30, 35, and a good return by Rich Monty. And he gets it out of bounds, too, at the 37-yard line. A 35-yard return by Rich Monty. David Lewis makes the tackle. That's why Monty continues to hold a spot on the team. He's a fine special teams performer and a wide receiver who can help you.
Well, that was a great disciplined effort by the New Orleans kick return team, too, because Monty got the ball clear over in the corner here on the right-hand side. This was meant to be run to the left. Look at the fence building up over here on the left-hand side. Look at the blockers out in front.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Stabler, rush, pass, intercepted. Kirk Collins. And Collins still going. He intercepted one against the Giants and a backbreaker against Kenny Stabler right here for Kirk Collins. 3rd season out of Baylor. Circus interception by number 42 of the Rams.
Circus in the fact that he was in the right position, played it great on defense, but had to make a tremendous leap to come down with this ball, juggled it, and did. And tacked on a pretty good run afterwards.
It was intended for Lindsey Scott.
Now this helps. When the quarterback can't plant, step forward and throw. Stabler had a lot of pressure on him by Greg Meisner and Gary Jeter and was off balance as he threw.
Rams have it with a minute and 1 second to go and leading 30-27. Barry Redden. The Saints have 2 timeouts remaining and likely will use one of them right here. And they do with 54 seconds to go. 40 points have been scored by both teams in the second half. And a tremendous offensive show. And now you saw John Robinson just cradle the ball, hold on to it, and don't risk a fumble.
Hold on to the football.
Well, it's a chess game of sorts with the coaches. Stabler hit Goodlow to make it 27-21, and after the Rams held the Saints, Bum Phillips elected Russell Erxleben to accept the safety to make the score 27-23. And then the Rams, after Leroy Irvin returned it to the 40-yard line, 56-yard touchdown or throw, and the touchdown run by Dickerson to put the Rams in front 30-27. All right, let's get the U.S. Open score. Connors leading 5-0. He needs one game to close out the men's singles championship. Anyway, Ferragamo 17 of 30 for 265 yards, 1 touchdown pass, that's to David Hill, and 2 interceptions. Came on strong in the second half and actually in the latter stages of the first. Second and 8 at the 21. Red cradles the ball. Ricky Jackson in to make the tackle. Saints have 1 timeout remaining. 45 seconds remain in the game. 4th quarter.
Rams will take all day getting back in the huddle and force New Orleans to use that last timeout.
At one point, the Saints led 17-7 after Hokie Gajan had scored a touchdown into the 3rd quarter. But the Rams came back, and John Robinson's got to feel awfully good about this one.
Now, if they get him stopped here after this play, and there's any time left, New Orleans basically will have to take that timeout. If indeed they do have one left. They do.
Ferragamo's going to sit on it, and now the Saints call their last timeout with 6 seconds on the clock. So the LA Rams, apparently headed for their 2nd straight victory, will go against the Green Bay Packers next week. on CBS. And the Saints will try to regroup against the Chicago Bears at the Superdome. Exciting game. Eric Dickerson didn't disappoint anyone.
No question. John Robinson told us the other day that this Ram team, the players that had been here for a while, were begging for direction, wanted to get under the black cloud that's kind of been around the franchise for the last 3 or 4 years, and get the feeling back that they were a good team and one of the best teams in the National Football League. He had to turn a whole attitude around. The same thing that Bum Phillips had to do a couple of years ago at New Orleans. Both men have accomplished that. This has been a tremendous football game. A lot of emotion on both sides. Great hitting. It's been a real courageous game. Both teams have come back. Both teams have played well, and it's one of those things. I know it's a cliche, but it's almost tough to have a loser in this one.
It's true, and they're both division rivals. And it's a good one to beat a division opponent, as Jack Youngblood told us. Rams at Green Bay next week, or Chicago at New Orleans, the first game of our NFL doubleheader on CBS Sports, and the Giants against the Dallas Cowboys in the second game. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. Fourth down, and Ferragamo, with no timeouts remaining for the Saints, will chew up the clock, and that will do it. 2 seconds. They still have 2 seconds. And so the Saints will actually get their chance for one last play. Now what do you do when you have 6 seconds to go and you get tackled before the end of that game? Ideally, I guess
Well, you'd like to have your quarterback take the ball and run around back there for a few seconds, but that's taking an awful chance too, because he could fumble and the ball would be in play back there. They did the smart thing. If they're going to beat you with 2 seconds left on the clock, they deserve to win the ball game.
As we have told you here, the victory for the Rams in the kind of division that a lot of clubs have an opportunity. In fact, all 4. 49ers, Falcons, Saints, and Rams. Dave Wilson is in at quarterback, and Wilson has only one option here. There are 3 wide receivers all to the right. This is the last play of the game unless there's a penalty, and Dave Wilson unlimbers deep in a crowd of uniforms, and that'll be it. Incomplete. The game is over, and the LA Rams 2-0 beat Bum Phillips and the Saints unless there's a penalty. It is a penalty, though, against the Saints, declined, and John Robinson has made a successful home debut as head coach of the Rams. He's 2-0 now, and in a tight division race, they all mean something. That's the end of the game. We'll be back at Anaheim Stadium. The Rams beating the Saints 30-27.